I am going to ask in the chat, can you hear me? No, in the chat, sorry, in the Zoom chat, sorry.
What?
Okay, I got a couple of yeses, so that's a good sign. Okay, can you hear me in the audience? Sort of, yes. I want to welcome everybody to Community Education Council 2. My name is Craig Slutskin, I'm the president of the council. The interpreters, do you need to make any announcements? Do you need to come up? Thank you. You want to give him that mic over there? Just turn it on. We can come up. You want you to we can take that mic? No. We'll get it. Ooh. Ooh.
Do you want to turn something when it happens again?
Is that better? Try now. Thank you.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it should be recording. Yeah, recording. Okay. Thank you. I was going to ask Councilmember Egorov to take a roll call, but there she is. If you can take a roll call.
Reed. Absent. Allison. Absent. Daniela here. Gavin. Here. Here. Charles. Absent. Maud. Here. Sono. Here. Jessica. Here. Sarah. Here. Sabina.
Oh, pre just went in.
Sabina's in the back.
Oh, okay. Len.
Present.
Craig.
Present.
Lila.
Lila.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, okay, present.
Alexandra. Okay, and Bree just arrived. Okay. We have quorum.
Thank you. So before we go into our presentation of resolutions, just want to start off the meeting by asking for us to have a civil conversation tonight. I'd like each of us to show respect towards each other. We have a very diverse set of opinions, and that's okay. At the last meeting, we had an outburst of profanity. I would ask that we refrain from doing that. Not only is it beneath all of us and the example we want to set for our kids, but it's also important to remember that we potentially have students in this meeting and also potentially students watching at home. I'm also going to ask for the folks at home, I will ask that comments in the chat be kept respectful as well. Over the last few meetings, I've noticed some vicious back and forth, and that shouldn't happen either. We want to set an example. If this continues, we do reserve the right to shut off the chat function, but hopefully we won't have to do that. Okay, so we're going to move to the presentation of resolutions. We're going to start with Resolution 263, resolution urging the Panel for Educational Policy to ensure continuity in the administration of the Specialized High Schools Admissions Test by approving the Pearson Assessment Contract. Is there any council member that would like to present this? Councilmember Marin.
So this resolution really shouldn't have to be written because the manner in which we provide access to high schools, all of the high schools in New York, should be thoughtful, should be done based on the academic needs of the students who are matriculating. somehow we lost an objective and competitive standardized exam for the administration of the gifted and talented program in the city. That is not how educational decisions should be made. It shouldn't be left up to a politically appointed body of PEP members to do a backdoor end run around the educational decision making that should inform what programs are available to the students in the entire city, but let me speak for a moment for District 2 students. Citywide, we have tens of thousands of students, over 35,000 students taking this exam to achieve placement in one of the now 8 specialized high schools. Over half of the District 2 students take that exam, and I think over 400 of them, it's in the resolution, but I can't keep my best the numbers, so I'll just give you the approximate numbers. Several hundred of the students every year have traditionally placed into and accepted the placements into the specialized high schools. To cut off and to throw into chaos that process serves no educational function. It absolutely doesn't help not only the students who want to attend those schools know that the pathway is open to them, it also creates chaos in all of the district schools that otherwise have to plan for an expected number of students. In 2018 and 2019, then Mayor Bill de Blasio and then Schools Chancellor Richard Carranza worked incredibly hard to get rid of this test and to get rid of
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
I've never been to hell, but it sounds like
Not even on.
Okay, I got a couple of yeses, but it's fine.
I don't know what that was from. Can you talk now?
I want to welcome everybody to
Is somebody playing something?
It's
I didn't touch anything.
Okay. Try now. More.
it doesn't appear to be on.
There we go.
Okay.
I just wanted to briefly give for those, some of you who already know this, but some of you won't, in the last mayoral administration, there was a real concerted effort joined by the then chancellor of the school district to get rid of the specialized high school exam, and there were an unbelievable outpouring of parents and students around the city to fight to keep those exams. There were months and months of protests, there were letters to the editor, there were meetings with the chancellor, and there was a really robust grassroots effort to hold on to the SHSAT. It is absolutely the opposite of what this council stands for, which is parent voice, which is having parents of students elected to, parents of students in this school district elected to represent the parents in the school district, to allow the appointed members of PEP to get rid of the SHSAT by simply not approving the contract. There is a contract process, 2 contracts, 2 vendors submitted bids for this contract. One was selected based on price and based on other reasons, and the PEP should approve this contract so that students will be able to take this exam and there'll be continuity in the administration of this exam. It would certainly be reasonable to say, we don't think this is the right vendor, we should choose a different one, or we don't think this is the right process, we should do something else. But as with the Gifted and Talented program, those who are threatening to veto this vendor and this exam are not doing it because they're advancing an alternative way for students to be able to take the exam and to get into these schools. They're simply trying to tear down. It's so much easier to tear down than it is to build up, and these schools have served New York City public school students for over 50 years, have produced Nobel laureates, have produced generations of, some of whom are sitting in this audience, I see right now, generations of very smart young women and men who have benefited from the education that is available there. The PEP should pass this contract, and they should absolutely not try to do a backdoor destruction of the specialized high schools. All it will do is cause chaos for students and expense of litigation, because this is a state law that says that this test has to exist. So I would hope that even those who don't always hold the specialized high school process in high regard would understand and would vote for this resolution because it meets the needs of the students in District 2, and there's no other viable alternative being offered.
Thank you. The next resolution is Resolution 264, a resolution to affirm CEC2's support of NYCPS's guidelines to support transgender and gender-expansive students, and rescind Resolution 248. Does anybody, would any council member like to, Councilmember Healy?
Good evening. Thank you everyone for coming today to our meeting. As I think most of you know, this resolution is in response to a resolution passed by this council in March, Resolution 248. Since March, we've had a tremendous outpouring from the community in opposition to that resolution, and it's clear that the Resolution 248 does not reflect the will of our community, does not reflect the voice of the people we are supposed to be representing here. And so we are continuing to seek to rescind that resolution and assure our students and their families that the CEC2 will support the DOE gender guidelines. Because they make sense, they are humane, they are just, and this is what we should do. I also want to acknowledge that today is Transgender Day of Remembrance, and so I just want to speak to that and just share that and just let all of you know that there are people on this council in our community who don't agree with Resolution 248. We think that it's wrong, and want to find a path forward that will be inclusive and be welcoming and be loving to all of our students and see them for who they are. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next resolution is Resolution 265, resolution to allow binding voting by student members of community education councils, citywide education councils, and the panel on educational policy. Is there anybody who wishes to speak? Councilmember Shachter Ehrenberg.
Thank you. I know many people have seen this, so I don't want to rehash the whole thing. We are incredibly fortunate here in CECD to have two exceptional, intelligent, and committed student members. The rules are from New York State education law. It's not something that we can change. We have their students have binding votes. We would recommend that we bring this up to New York State education to have students have binding votes. Many of them are of voting age. They are directly impacted by the policies and the decisions made by CECs and PEPs. They week to work, they show up, they do research, they do all sorts of things. We're asking them to do all this stuff. So, taxation without representation, well, no schools without representation. These are the students that deserve.
Okay, thank you. There are no program presentations tonight, so we're going to go to the first public speaker session. Victor is in the back. Can you bring the sign-in list? If you haven't signed up already and you'd like to, please do so now. Victor, where's Victor?
I'm going, I don't see him.
He went to that.
Oh, he went to get it, okay. We'll get his sign now.
There was a line to sign up.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to go get the
Yeah,
first
why
one,
don't you
the
go get
few
the first
ones?
one? Yeah.
Yes.
So at least we'll start.
Few ones. Len,
Maybe what?
Get away from me.
Why don't we put everybody's phone in the car? Seriously.
Get away from me.
you want me to do it?
Yes. Oh, no, Victor's, oh, yeah, do it and then we'll,
I'm gonna stay.
yes. Okay, do you want lunch? Okay, take that mic.
Just look at your names on the break, so I know who I'm speaking for.
Over there?
So I think there was confusion between the signing and the speaker here, so you could just announce if you're not here, you should sign again, they're still signing people up.
Okay, so Len is gonna pull out the names. We have a lot of speakers tonight. There might have been some confusion between the sign-in sheet and the speakers list, so if we don't call you, please find Victor in the front and he'll make sure you get on. So we wanna make sure everybody speaks. It will be 2 minutes per person, but we're gonna keep it because there's a lot of people and we get thrown out of here. The building closes at a certain time, so we have to end this meeting by 9:45. We want to make sure everybody who wants to speak gets to speak. So we're going to time you to 2 minutes, and we're going to cut you off at that. I apologize, but we want to make sure we have a lot of people that want to speak. We want to make sure everybody gets to speak. I'm going to ask again if everybody will be respectful towards each other. I would hope that council members are focusing on the speakers, and the speakers are respectful towards one another and towards the council members. So I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Silverman.
First, I'm going to give you the general disclaimer. I apologize if I butcher anyone's names tonight. The first speaker will be Karen Newworth, and after that, we have Elizabeth Vida.
I've never done one of these before, so.
Just speak to us.
And talk. And Karen, if you could put the microphone near your mouth.
Yeah, so they can hear you.
Okay. I'm a parent of 2 recent graduates of District 2 schools. Biology is not bigotry. It's no insult to call a girl or a boy a boy. Having a male or female body is one of the facts of life. And there's nothing wrong with telling a teenage boy he cannot compete against teenage girls in sports. In fact, not only is having boys on girls' sports teams unsafe and unfair for the girls, but it's not doing the boys any favors pretending that they're really girls when they're not. This sets them up for disappointment and they eventually realize they can never really be girls or women. These messages will drive kids, boys and girls, to chemically and surgically alter their bodies in ways that make them less healthy, sterile, more prone to strokes, heart attacks, blood clots, cancers, bone density issues, infections, incontinence, and while rare, even death. We are not doing these kids any favors. Let them be themselves in their healthy, intact male or female bodies. There's nothing wrong with effeminate males and masculine girls. If your goal is to assure that everyone can be involved in sports, a goal we can all agree on, then either having biological males play on male sports teams regardless of gender identity, or simply having an open or co-ed category and an exclusively female category would work. At the very least, I would ask that you simply allow everyone with a stake in this issue to have a voice in determining what's fair. That includes the girls who have to compete against male-bodied individuals. If you want to be on the right side of history, I suggest you consider what you're doing by simply
We're not gonna do that. No.
girls' sports. Women and
10
girls'
seconds, 10 more
sports
seconds.
have girls' competitive sports teams funded in public high schools. Please don't set us back 50 years by placing males in the female sports categories in New York
Thank you.
City schools. One one last sentence.
Thank you. No,
And please,
no, 2
consider
minutes.
the harm you're doing, not just
2
to the
minutes.
girls.
2 minutes. Yeah, I know. So, sorry, before we go on, please be respectful, do not interrupt, do not, either way, I mean, there were people who were cheering, we can't hear then, and we want to hear everybody. You want us to listen to you, but we have to be able to hear to do that. And I'm going to emphasize again, 2 minutes per person. I don't care if I agree with you or I disagree with you. We have to leave it at 2 minutes because there are a lot of people and we want to hear from everybody. So I will be even on the 2 minutes for everybody's opinion. That's my deal to you. Just please do it on your end as well. Thank you.
I'll put it another time. I'll never
Our next speaker is Elizabeth Fedak.
And the next one?
And then after that, we have, looks like Danielle Moore.
Hi, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Fedak, primary organizer of More Women NYC. While I was attending in New York City Public Schools, Stuyvesant, I was also enduring daily abuse at the hands of parents who acted very much like some people in this room do. As an adult, I used my training in mathematics to cut through the lies I was brainwashed to believe, like that abuse was my fault. My goal is to expose manipulation tactics so they stop working. That way, instead of clearly faulty arguments dominating the discussion, we can engage each other using solid formal reasoning. The tactic I want to talk about now is the constant refrain of "you're killing trans kids." Putting aside the misinterpretation of stats, putting aside because that framing actually encourages child suicide, death threats are one of the most common and well-known tactics narcissists use to get their way. Here's an example of how obvious the emotional manipulation is. On November 1st, my group was protesting German self-ID laws in front of the German consulate. A trans-identified child came up to talk to us. She had no idea what the feminist perspective actually was, which is another fast manipulation tactic, I'll get to later, but felt comfortable enough to chat with us for 2 hours about the harms of gender ideology. At one point, she mentioned the suicide stats. I said, "Do you think that if someone threatens suicide, they should get what they want?" And she said, "No, that's not."
No, stop. No, we're not gonna curse. We're not gonna curse. We have minors listening in online. We have potentially minors here. We're not doing that.
There's an altercation.
Thank you. Please continue. Sorry for the interruption.
All right, anyway, no, I guess not, is the correct response. So here's the interesting thing. How did a teenage girl figure that out before the 4 of you at the end? Why could she see it, but you can't? Why did it take her seconds to figure out that feminists weren't a hate group, but you haven't gotten it after months? And don't fall for this, the tides are turning.
Thank you. Our next
Danielle?
speaker is Danielle Bullock.
And the next one?
And after that, we have, it looks like Myra Scherzer.
Myra, next one, Myra.
And then we have a Maya Perez after that.
Hi, my name is Danielle Bullock. I'm a queer New York City public school teacher. I'm also the parent of a trans son who is a former District 2 student. I've been attending these meetings since the spring, and quite honestly, I'm disappointed that we're still here discussing this at all. In light of the recent elections, it's imperative that we speak here against this hateful and discriminatory resolution. New York City is the closest thing we have in this country to a safe haven for LGBTQIA people. A situation, obviously, which is becoming increasingly rare. New York City schools must remain a safe and welcoming environment to all children. In my 8 years of teaching in public school, I have built relationships with dozens of queer and trans students, both as their teacher and as the advisor of both schools that I taught in, Gender and Sexuality Alliance, which also includes allies, students whose families or friends might be LGBT. As an out teacher, I know that I have an enormous responsibility to let these kids know that queer youth grow up to be queer adults, with careers and families and loving relationships. This resolution makes schools a place of fear, a place where trans kids are excluded, a place in which trans kids will expect to be bullied. Students who are afraid to attend school cannot learn. The same way that students go to school hungry cannot learn. It is exactly the same. Schools that discriminate against trans students are violating these students' basic human rights to have an education.
10 more seconds, please.
You have to let trans kids live their lives, be accepted in schools. They are human beings and they deserve respect, care, and love inside the school system. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Maya Terza, and then after that, we have a Maya Perez.
Please feel free for the others that are coming up to have a seat here, please.
Good evening. My name is Mira Kurzer. I'm the Rebbitzin of East End Temple, a synagogue in District 2, and I'm the parent of a trans child in a New York City public school. You are the elected leaders of the largest school district in the largest city in the country, and this is a new moment, one that calls for courageous leadership. So, lead. Children you volunteered to serve have been scapegoated by multi-million-dollar ad campaign that puts a target on their backs. And now all eyes are on you to see what you will do about it. The world is watching. How do you want to be remembered? Will you be among the cowards who roll over and give up on core values? Will you be the once secret bigots who are now emboldened by hateful rhetoric on the national stage? Or will you be the ones that step up and show the heroism that this moment demands? You know what's at stake. You know the statistics about suicide rates among trans kids, especially when they live in places with policies like Resolution 248. But you may not know the opposite is also true. With supportive families and communities, trans children's risk of suicide drops down to where their peers are. If you support the trans children in your district, you can literally save their lives. Judaism teaches that to save one life is to save a whole world. Look at this room. Every family is an entire world. Every one of those children is a life that is in your hands. It is not too late. It doesn't matter what you did before. It is never too late to turn back from a bad policy, to recognize that there is a better way. You do it now, and you will be the heroes of the story.
Our next speaker is Maya Perez, and then after that, we have Beth Rebala.
Hi, my name is Amaya Perez, and I'm Games Against Rumors New York chapter leader.
We're gonna let her speak. We're gonna let her speak,
Let's restart.
and we're gonna restart the clock.
We're gonna
Please-
restart.
Please restart the clock. We're going to let her speak. This happened 2 meetings ago. We're going to let her have her say, just like we're gonna let everybody else have their say. Please start again. Sorry about that.
doesn't deserve a say.
Everybody, okay, sir? No.
Sir, please, come on.
Okay, please, at least, sir, in the back, safety officers.
Calm down.
Craig, you don't control the police. You don't get to call the cops on citizens.
Thank you. Please make sure that there's no action over there. Thank you. This is a public meeting. Please speak. Go ahead, start
Go
over.
ahead. 2 minutes, yeah.
Hi, I'm Maya, Games Against Rumors New York chapter leader, and here today discussing the recent bill attempt to rescind Resolution 248 with Resolution 224. 2 points were made in the new resolution that need to be addressed. One point was made that the supporters of Resolution 248 have not brought out a coach to speak out against trans-identifying girls playing in girls' sports. By attempting to pass It's an intellectually lazy argument to make when no one has been willing to listen to the voices affected by the policies in the first place. If those who are trying to pass resolution 264 are suddenly willing to listen to public comment, then it makes zero sense to consistently create resolutions to attempt to rescind one that is requesting an open dialogue. And the resolution also references a study about how anti-trans laws have increased suicide attempts amongst trans youth. Not only is that extremely misogynistic to suggest that a resolution asking for an open dialogue about girls' sports will lead to deaths of biological boys, but the same study can be easily debunked if we acknowledge the reality of trans suicides. For example, a study conducted in the UK that examined the suicides reported from the world's largest clinic for trans youth said that it is 0.1013% or 13 suicides per 100,000. And according to another study reported by the NIH, the rate of trans suicide increased by 12-fold after receiving gender-affirming care. It's insidious to push this paranoia on children while suggesting that receiving gender-affirming care saves lives when the data proves the opposite is true. It's beyond irresponsible to exaggerate the data prevalence of suicide, especially amongst a very vulnerable population of children and parents who are agreeing to a path of life-altering decisions out of fear. We don't blame you!
Keep going.
It's a solution that these radical trans activists are selling to these states is causing what a towel sacrifice and
Next, we have Dutch de Caravallo.
And after?
Oh, and after that, we have Mashka Sutton.
Good evening, my name is Dutch. I'm proud to be a New York City public school teacher. I'm also myself a graduate of this district. And I'm here to state my strong opposition to Resolution 248. As a teacher, I am constantly doing research. Researching lesson plans, finding new books, new resources. I also do my own research in the classroom with my students. I get to know them as people, I get to know their stories, the ways they learn. I get to know the parts of the book which always make them laugh. My work is based in research. So when I came across Resolution 248, I was horrified not only by its intentions, but by the fact that the Community Education Council would put out such a poorly researched resolution. Now, while it might not seem like that big of a deal to put out such a poor resolution, as a political body, you don't have that much power. It seems. It starts here. Attacks and violence toward queer and trans youth doesn't start in the highest courts in our country. It starts in PTA meetings and parent education councils. Yeah. This is where transphobia and hate is present. And you know that. And I know you know that because you shrouded this resolution as a harmless investigation into equality in sports. You cite organizations like the ACLU who fully support trans youth in sports, and a resolution that they themselves would argue against. You make outrageous, excuse me, on your phone, Maud, on phone.
Yeah.
You're gonna wait have the attention of everybody on the board.
That's part of your 2 minutes.
Yep, that's part of your
2 minutes. Part of your 2 minutes.
Your 2 minutes, it's your 2 minutes.
I'm going. This discussion is exhausting. The fact that you are busy yourselves by attacking trans youth when the students and families in this district face actual real problems is beyond to me. If you want to focus on non-existent problems, get us better paint colors. But leave trans kids alone. I'm happy to go over the research with any of you, even those of you on your phones, and I mean that genuinely. When you're ready to actually do something about our very real problems, Allison Daniela, Charles Sabina, Leonard, and Craig, I know plenty of teachers that would love to talk with you.
Our next speaker is Mashka Sutton. Mashka Sutton, and then we also, after that, we have Matoko.
Who's coming? No? Let's go to the next one, so.
Okay, next we have Matoko S, and then after that, we have Cordura Coles.
I saw Matoko here.
Yeah, I saw she left.
Okay. we're gonna come back to those. We have Jade Shannon Heights, I apologize. Heitzer, thank you. And then we'll have Erica Connerhay, I apologize. That's the handwriting, sorry.
Good evening, my name is Samira Coles, and I'm the Director of Policy and Advocacy at Girls Virginia Equity, GGE. GGE is an intergenerational organization based in Brooklyn, New York, founded on the principle of advancing equity in sports for girls and gender-expansive youth, and we have since expanded our mission to challenge structural forces including racism, sexism, gender-based violence, transphobia, and homophobia, which restrict the full freedom, expression, and rights of all young people. We do this work through direct service, policy, and advocacy, and culture change. We are offering testimony today on Transgender Day of Remembrance to urge you to rescind Resolution 248 and reaffirm your commitment to creating inclusive and equitable spaces for all students, including transgender and gender-expansive youth. The very foundation of equity and inclusion in our schools. The New York City Department of Education's guidelines to support trans and gender-expansive students is a critical tool to ensure that every student has the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive in a safe environment. Targeting these protections under the guise of fairness in sports perpetuates harmful narratives that stigmatize and isolate trans youth, many who are already navigating difficult challenges in their daily lives. At GGE, we know the transformative and ironically healing power of sports. Participation in sports is more about competition. It's about teamwork, self-expression, and belonging. These benefits should never be denied to any young person based on their gender identity. The rhetoric surrounding Resolution 248 does not reflect the values of fairness or equity. Instead, it fosters exclusion and fear. The fight against harmful policies like this is not about it's more than about this resolution. It's about whether we will stand with the most vulnerable members of our community and affirm their rights to exist, participate, and feel safe. According to the Trevor Project, 86% of transgender and non-binary youth say recent debates around anti-trans bills have negatively impacted their mental health. So, to those who argue that this is a matter of
Thank you. Your time
Thank you.
is up.
Thank you.
Time's up, thank you.
Jade Shannon, and then after that, we have Erica Connerhay.
I couldn't hear. Okay.
Jade Shannon is next, and then Erica.
Hi, my name is Shannon Beitzer. I am a out and proud trans woman. I've been living authentically for a decade. I'm a youth worker. I have a 7-year career in youth work, maybe 3 or 4 years of which was actually spent working for an LGBT youth center. The number one question my youth would ask me in that center after an election or an ordinance or a law is, are we going to be okay? And my answer has to be pretty consistent. I have to tell them, hey, I don't know, because I'm also affected by these laws. My youth are scared. They are afraid that laws that bar them from access in education or to healthcare will cause them harm. I think that's justifiable, and as a youth worker, I really don't have a response to that, which is kind of scary for me. During my time at this youth center, serving, I would say, about 2-3 dozen youth, I had one who was on hormones. And I want to dispel this myth that we're just giving these out like candy. I promise you, the American healthcare system does not work that way. It is difficult to acquire these. It is more difficult to acquire surgery, and I've personally never seen a surgery on mine. Again, that's a 7-year career. I invite any of you to come speak to me. My email is on the list. I invite the opposition to come speak to me. I would love to have a respectful dialogue. There's a conversation to be had. Okay, thank you. My point is, I'm here because my kids are scared. I want that to stop. I think it starts here.
Thank you. And then after Erica, we have Michael McGrath. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I couldn't even, I couldn't hear. Okay.
Okay. Jade Shannon is next, and then Erica.
Yes, I couldn't, even I couldn't hear. Okay.
And then after Erica, we have Michael McGrath.
Can I go? Okay. I'm Eric Kennedy. I'm a resident of Manhattan. I'm an educator. I've been teaching at Pace University for the last 17 years. And I'm a former counselor at the LGBT Center on 13th Street. I'm a transgender woman. I'm an athlete. I played for an all-women's team in an all-women's league, and I've done so for years without any problems. I can't overstate how much athletics meant to me, in terms not only of the physical benefits from regular exercise, but the friendships I've made, the social contacts I've made, as well as including contacts that were good for my career and just good for my well-being. It would bother me deeply if those same opportunities were not offered to everybody in New York and all the students in New York, including the trans ones. A number of people have cited studies. When we talk about Resolution 248, let's say what we mean to mean what we say. What they're talking about is a blanket ban on transgender athletes based on sex at birth. And that is a really bad idea for a lot of reasons. And one of the reasons it's a really bad idea is the science simply does not support it. What I mean by that is that if we're talking about fairness, the latest and best science simply doesn't show that biological sex at birth is a strong determinant of athletic ability. And if you don't believe it, I wish some people would take a look at the most recent and best science, which is a study backed by the International Olympic Committee and printed in the British Journal of Sports Medicine last April. And it showed that, again, biological sex at birth is not a strong determinant of athletic behavior. The other reason that it is a bad idea is that it will make...
Your time is over. Your time is over. Thank you.
The next speaker is Michael McGrath, and then after Michael, we have Nora Anderson. And then after Nora, we're going to have Sarah Lavery.
My name is Michael McGrath, and I recently moved here from NYC. I'm a trans non-binary youth. And today is like near and dear to my heart because it's Trans Remembrance Day, like honoring our fallen trans sisters and brothers and whoever. And Resolution 248 is not a resolution that we should pass through. I don't really know that much about it, but I know it's not a good thing, especially for LGBTQ plus people. So we shouldn't have to be afraid of who we are just because of how we identify.
And we're going to have to go over to Sarah Lavery, and then we have Chrissy Roberts.
Hi, I'm not a parent, but I'm currently in the fertility process so that I can make a welcome child soon. My family resides in District 2. I'm here to provide a perspective from an actual female athlete. Growing up, I played soccer, playground, football, swimming, running, and I once broke a school window playing basketball and PE. I considered playing softball at the collegiate level. I played collegiate club ice hockey. After graduation, I competed in pitch travel ice hockey and USA Women's Bronze. Today, I compete in weightlifting and powerlifting. As a female athlete, I am not concerned about transgender women in sports. Teammates and my competitors, and I'm here to ensure equal participation in sport. I've met so many friends through sports, both at the youth and adult levels. It's a wonderful way to meet athletes from many other backgrounds and plays where the goals of sportsmanship, collaboration, and community building. As a future parent, I'm extremely concerned that the narrative seems to only be about winning.
It's fun to win, but meeting new people, traveling to new places, and learning how to come together as a team is far more important. Being transgender does not give you an advantage in competition, either at the youth or adult levels. I've personally competed against and won against transgender women in weightlifting and powerlifting. I've also outlifted cisgender men. If you are a talented athlete before you transition, you will probably be a talented athlete after you transition. If you're not good at sports, you're not going to be good either before. I was raised to believe that girls and women can do anything that we set our minds to. It upsets me greatly to see someone with the same minds tell me that I'm now somehow lesser because I'm a woman. To all the girls and women listening, particularly and especially the transgender girls and women, you are strong, you are worthy, and no one can hold you back.
And after that, we have Chrissy Rhodes, then we have Laura Bell.
For the past 6 months, I attended these meetings in silent support and allyship, but events of this past month have been overwhelming. So here I am at the microphone to speak to what has been brewing and stewing for months, maybe even years. The majority of you that sit on this dais are not only cowards, but utter masters of bull. You say you are here to support children and girl athletes, yet I have not once seen you put forth an agenda item of substance. Instead, all I see is you scapegoating some of the most vulnerable among us, those with the least resources and support, those that are visually identifiable and easily targeted. You really sleep well at night after a day of doing this? You are able to look at yourself in the mirror and feel good about your contribution to society? You will be able to tell your children and their future children that you made a positive contribution to the world? I have a trans son who had an exceptional experience in the New York City public school system. He was fully supported by school administration, teachers, family, his varsity soccer coach, and most importantly, by his peers, from the moment he entered kindergarten as a very willful tomboy until his graduation as a young man last June. He's flourishing at a very competitive school in California. I am also a parent to a delightful cis female child who is a student in this district. Targeting trans students also harms her, not because her brother is trans, but because she is young, an impressionable person. When you legislate hate and target others who are underdogs or vulnerable members of our community, your action spurs thus that community to other people. You will implicitly discourage young people from being
Time, man. The time.
human beings.
Time.
Thank you.
Time.
Laura Bell, Chrissy Rhodes.
Hi everyone, I'm Chrissy Rhodes. For those new to this party, I'm a full contact karate black belt and semi-knockdown champion, and I teach martial arts and self-defense to adults and children. This board passed Resolution 248 out of a supposed concern for the impacts on female athletes that gender-inclusive sports policies have. We all know you're talking about what you believe is the negative impact of trans girls playing with cis ones. I've seen 0 athletes show up to these meetings to tell you they've experienced any negative impact from trans teammates. But every month, scores of parents, students, and community members tell you in excruciating detail about the impact this resolution has on them and their children. Their children. These are children. They're kids trying to be themselves and play with their friends. Kids whose well-being is
Excuse me, can we have,
Why do we
can we have, can we wait a moment? Can we stop our time? Can we have someone see what's going on over there, please?
I'm sorry, I couldn't say. Okay, we're gonna pause, we're gonna let this.
You'll get your time.
You get your time.
I'm not sure if I signed the right places, and I want to make sure that you get to speak.
Oh, I got to see. You got to. Sure. That's what you want to see.
Just want to make sure that she's in it.
This is so smart.
Oh my God.
This is ridiculous.
No, we're not gonna move. That's fine.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
It's worse than my 7-year-old.
So why do we have school? We're just going to sit there and say,
I know.
what is the point?
What are they fighting about?
I mean, they're literally there just watching.
We'd like to continue the meeting. Figure out what's going on with
But it's also NBC. There's oh, God. Everybody gets to speak. This is a big deal.
Yeah, that person should be.
Excuse me, before this meeting, President Slutsky to outline the meeting norms and rules for decorum. Can we please just take a step back from other people in the audience? I think that would go a long way to diffusing any situation that we have developing, please. Members of the audience, please take their seats.
Oh my God.
Which seats?
Oh my God.
Can you see? This is how this is the comedy skit. What you say?
I know, that's why they're going to lose up
Can we please have people take their seats?
Didn't everybody see that? Everybody see that.
Why she has to move? It's always she has to move. It's always the victim. It is always the victim.
Can we please, can everyone please take their seats? We want to continue the meeting. The way that's going to happen is for everyone to please take their seats. Okay. Would the speaker like to continue? Wait, can we have the reset on the time where we stopped? Thank you. I just want to add, that took a lot of time. It's less time for speakers at the end, so please, we're going to let you continue and we're going to pick up exactly where you left off. You need a 10-second reset to figure out where
I
you.
would love a 10-second reset.
Can we add a reset just for a little time for the disruption?
Okay,
Or
so
wait, are you ready for the time? Okay, go ahead.
Why can't you start over?
You wanna start over?
You should start over.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
As I was saying,
I would say that this.
these are children. These are kids trying to be themselves and play with their friends. These are kids whose well-being you are responsible for. They are the athletes who are being impacted. And I'm a female athlete. I've got all the body parts you think make somebody a woman. Every month I stand here and I tell you that I happily train and compete with trans women in combat sports. Every month I tell you that your protectionist logic is misogynistic bullshit, and every month you ignore me because people who claim that women need their protection don't actually listen to or respect women. Saying that trans participation
insult to the dangers we actually face. I don't worry about a trans woman beating me in a competition. I worry about whether I'll be able to get an abortion if I need it. Trans rights is the right for women's rights. Trans women and cis women belong on the same team, whether it's a sports field or fighting legislation against our bodies. And to the cis women in the room who don't agree with me, until you see that, you'll all keep losing. So one more time. I don't need protection from trans folks. I don't need protection from children. I am a protector, and I'm standing over here because it's obvious to me that when a group of adults teams up to exclude children, that's not the side to be on.
Our next speaker is Laura Bell, followed by Olivia Blake.
I have nothing prepared, just here to say that I am a Division III college basketball player, out lesbian since the early 90s, worked with LGBTQ kids for over 30 years, currently play co-ed sports. But I have to honestly say, I think high school, coming from a very small school, not having a lot of competition, I had been forced to play against biological males. I probably would have lost my seat in college. I probably would not have been able to do that, and I would have lost it. There is a difference between men and women. There is a difference between children, boys and girls. I used to beat every single boy on the track field until about 11th or 12th grade. And then even the fat boys or the overweight boys finally started beating me, even though I trained way harder. I love gay and lesbian and trans people. I have gay and lesbian and trans friends. I have 11 nieces and nephews. Just because the loud majority here think they're the majority, they're not. This issue, this is a large group of unhinged people that are refusing to have conversations, which is very sad to me, because we need to be concerned about children. We shouldn't be pushing them to be gay, we shouldn't be pushing them to be straight, pushing them to be trans. We should be letting them play with their toys, living their lives, and enjoying things, and keeping them safe. Pushing ideology and gender politics and identity politics on impressionable children is dangerous, harmful, and disturbing, especially as a mental health professional who knows a lot about childhood development and who had suffered from internalized homophobia for many years. I would have been trans. Took me a long time to come out.
Your time is over.
Again, we might disagree with people, but please just have to show some respect to whoever is speaking. Olivia Blake, thank you.
From the next one.
And after Olivia, excuse me, we're gonna wait until we have some decorum in the room, please. The next speaker after Olivia is gonna be Becca Spano, and then followed by C.D. Clifford. Olivia, please proceed, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All right, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia Blake, she, her. I stand here as a mother of 3 children. And, I just want to name what policies like this have done in my life, the life of my children. The goal of these policies is fear. We can talk about sports all we want, and that's a fair thing to talk about. But at the end of the day, this policy is meant to incite fear in the hearts of students and educators and give bullies the permission to bully students. Nationally, we've seen that sports bans lead to more draconian measures against permission for lawmakers to go further. So I'm going to ask for you to consider how enacting this policy affects the lives of trans people.
Just want to acknowledge that some people involved our broadcast sound, Corey's working very hard to try to resolve that.
Hi, my name is Becca, they, she, please, and I want to say something to all of the trans and genderqueer and non-binary youth who are listening to me and earshot of everyone else. I learned by the age of 10 that I internalized a lie by the age of 10 that I was a monster because I wanted to be girl things, that I wanted to inhabit a woman's body when I grew up. And I want to say something that I never heard as a kid. You are worthy of love and joy and happiness. You are worthy of hope. You are enough. You are valid. Your gender is wonderful and amazing. And there are people who want you to be yourself. And I also want to mention real quick that, to some extent, our history has been erased. Christine Jorgensen was a trans woman that most of us haven't heard of, Marsha P. Johnson. Lou Sullivan was a trans man. We have always been here and have always been a part of American history. How am I on time? And also, for the record, I ran cross country in high school in a testosterone body, and I got I got my butt kicked by the women. So, you're worthy of love and joy. You're so worthy, and you're loved. And I hope you can find a way forward to be yourself. Thank you.
Hi, I would really just like to address myself to you here on the dais. My name is Kristen Clifford. I am a mother of 2 children, one of whom is a trans kid in District 2. Both of my children, my child was allowed to transition in school with the teachers taking care of them, using their preferred pronouns, making them feel safe. I want you to understand that this 248 is taking that away from my child. My specific child, I know we're all here, there's lots of children, but I'm talking to you about my specific child. I want you to know that my specific child was suicidal. And that when people talk about suicide and trans kids and they say, oh, it's narcissism, how dare you, whoever said it. I am a feminist, I am a proud feminist, and feminists are not transphobic. Or our elected leaders, you are representing my child right now. And I just ask you to rescind 248, please. I am an educator. I teach and advise first-year students at a university here in New York. Today is Trans Day of Remembrance and Resilience. The idea that this is about trans youth in sports, it's about taking trans people out of public life.
Hi, my name is Jill. I am a trans teacher in District 75 Elementary School. And I feel to you because I know half of you don't have a conscience or aren't even listening. I'm here on this Trans Day of Remembrance to hold space for our real transgender and gender expansive children who have lost their lives in this country in just the past 2 years. About half of them were violently murdered, and about half of them died by suicide, specifically due to bullying at school. Thea Cassidy, 18, from Pennsylvania. Jasmine Johnson, 18, from Nevada. Jacob Williamson, 18, South Carolina. River Page Olmsted, 17, Pennsylvania. Miles Fitzpatrick, 17, New Jersey. Tay Dior Thomas, 17, Alabama. Ariana Mitchell, 17, Virginia. River Neve Goddard, 17, Massachusetts. Ollie Taylor, 17, Oregon. Morgan Moore, 17, Maryland. JJ Bright, 16, Pennsylvania. Next Benedict, 16, Oklahoma. Adrea Harden, 15, Pennsylvania. Braden Snyder, 15, Pennsylvania. Paulie Likens, 14, Pennsylvania. Nova Dunn, 14, New Hampshire. Leo Campbell, 12, California. Robin Baden Bender, 12, Pennsylvania. These are real children. I yield my time.
Get off your phone and listen to the names of those dead children, Lord.
Okay. Okay.
Because some people do this blind.
Yeah,
Can you hear me like
this
this?
is, you can hear, you can hear. It's
Okay.
just,
My name is Amaranta. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a brown, queer, cis woman with 2 children in District 13. I'm also a mental health provider and worked in DOE schools for over 6 years. I also teach the university level. I've been attending these meetings as childcare allows since the spring. I'm speaking today to beg that you rescind resolution 248. I don't know what will move you or change your mind, Maud or Charles. I don't know what will do it, but I will try. One of my children is transgender. Among many other things, she is happy, funny, creative, outdoorsy, and loving. And for the past 4 years, since she was 5, she's been expressing suicidality. You know the statistics. According to the Trevor Project's 2024 U.S. National Survey on Mental Health, 39% of queer young people seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year, including 46% of transgender and non-binary young people. Queer youth of color reported higher rates than white peers. This is the category that my child falls into. She is 9. I have called and talked with multiple council members' offices. I've talked with Assembly Member Simone's office. I've emailed the new Chancellor Villas Ramos, and you know what their response was. We support you, we condemn 248, but it is up to the CEC to rescind the resolution. Please rescind 248. Please uphold the responsibility you are tasked with as members of the CEC, the responsibility to support all students, particularly those that are most vulnerable. Please, with this new administration on the horizon, one that hates, villainizes, targets trans and non-binary humans, our children need your support now more than ever. Please help to make our schools a place where they feel safe, cared for, protected, loved, and not where they feel othered, excluded, shamed, wrong, and bad for simply existing. My child is not a threat to cisgender children or anyone else. My child is trying to live in her life and beat the grim statistics that are stacked against her. Please rescind. Please be a part of the community that saves our children's lives and not a part of the community that ends them.
Thank you. If August and Megan can make their way closer to,
Hi, I'm Josie, and I'm calling to rescind Resolution 248. I've coached kids in sports for several years, and I'm a trans athlete in a basketball league here in Brooklyn. The league, since its inception this summer, has continued to expand so much that we're even having an ESPN reporter come to our next meetup. Sometimes I'm not really sure why we get so much attention. It's really just a bunch of trans people playing basketball together, missing a lot of shots, making sound. This also reflects my experience coaching little kids. Ages 3 to 13, they really don't care that I'm trans. They ask, are you a boy or a girl? And then they move on. With that said, this trans basketball league has given me so much. It's given me a home to this city I just moved to. It introduced me to transformative schools, and now I get to be a part of all the amazing people in this room. It's also taught me how much money is being pumped into CEC2 through Maud Marin and Moms for Liberty. Clearly, this is not a fight for sports. Most of the transphobic speakers coming up here are talking about adults. The young kids, they play with boys and girls and adults and whoever, they don't care. They're not even adults, they haven't gone through puberty. Really, this is a fight for our community. And I'm so proud for all of us showing up tonight. And I can't wait to see what we do. To all the trans and gender diverse kids watching, we love you and we're fighting for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I've had my 1 second. Sorry. Here we go. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay. Hi, my name is August. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm a youth crisis counselor, a Jew, a dog dad, and I've identified as a trans man for 13 years. I'm a little worried you can't hear me with this. Trans people are not new, though we've adopted many names throughout history. What's newer is transphobia, the use of fear and hatred to tear us apart. The idea that there is an us and a them that needs to be kept separate in the name of safety. The idea that anyone is made safer through isolation or fear or hatred is unthinkable when we as a species have thrived on community and love for your neighbor. It draws on old, tired arguments. Separate is not equal. Today is Transgender Day of Remembrance, which honors the lives lost to anti-transgender violence. I would like to take 10 seconds to honor the memory of those we've lost. Give Us Our Roses While We're Still Here was popularized by Dee Parker, a Black transgender artist. It draws attention to the idea that we deserve to be celebrated in life, not just in death. Though transphobia does not make anyone safer, it is important to draw attention to the people most endangered by transphobic violence. According to the Human Rights Campaign, 74% of known trans people killed in the US this year were people of color. 48% were Black trans women. Being transgender is a blessing, and it's an audacity. You are part of a beautiful legacy, a legacy that didn't end when they burned Magnus Hirschfeld's research in the Nazi book burnings, a legacy that didn't end when Joan of Arc was burned at the stake for refusing to wear women's clothing. You are their dream, you are their legacy, and I love you.
Love you all.
Then we're gonna have roll call.
Okay,
Good evening. My name is Megan Madison, she, her, and hers, and I'm the board chair of Transformative Schools. Spoken at a lot of these meetings, and tonight I'm honestly at a loss for words. So I thought maybe we could sing a song together. Hopefully this is a song that some of you all know, and you can jump in and sing with me. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, shine, let it shine. Thank you all. So much beautiful and holy light in this room tonight, and I am deeply grateful that you are here protecting trans kids in District 2. There's also some negative energy in this space, and one thing I do as a preschool teacher is to use song as a way of moving energy. We hummed that one meeting because we hadn't yet practiced any songs together. And I guess now Gays Against Rumors thinks we're cults. So Now we have a song that we can sing together when we need it. Another thing that we can do when we need to shift the energy is chant. And so the last thing I want to do with my 2 minutes is practice a chant. This one's pretty simple. It just goes, when trans kids are under attack, what do? Stand up. Ready? Let's do it a couple times. If you want to, you can stand. When trans kids are under attack, what do? Hi, my name is Ropena, the then co-founder and director of programming for Transformative Schools. Wednesday, November 20th is, as we all know, Trans Day of Remembrance, where we honor the lives lost to anti-trans acts of violence and oppression. But what some of y'all might not know is that today is also World Children's Day, where children advocates from all parts of the world are showing up to listen to the future and stand up for the rights of our youth. That's right, Trans Day of Remembrance and World Children's Day perfectly coincide with today's CECD2 meeting. Unfortunately, many of its members have perpetuated harm through anti-trans rhetoric. And some might call these 3 events taking place on this one day, right after the words of the results of the presidential election, a coincidence. But my witchy, universally aligned self calls this divine intervention. Today is an energetic dance of morality and ideology. It asks you to join the movement. Today, on Trans Day of Remembrance and World Children's Day, I want to thank my community, you all, for showing up and standing with our trans youth. Today, we show up for trans children. And for all of our tomorrows, we will continue to show up for our trans children. Say, I triple dog dare some of you on this council to do the same. Recent 248, thank you.
Yeah, see, it's right on time.
And then we have our lead.
Go. The time starts now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elena Daniels, and I'm the co-founder of Transformative Schools. I'd like to dedicate my remarks tonight to all our trans and queer aunties, mothers, sisters, and siblings who built chosen families full of love and fought like hell for the dreams of their children. This beautiful group assembled here today. Transgender Day of Remembrance is a day of grief. There's no gentler or easier way to say it. Transgender Day of Remembrance is a day to honor the lives and memories of those who've been lost. It's a day to tell the stories of our loved ones who were taken too soon by bigoted violence. We must hold today and every day that each lost auntie, each lost sibling, and each lost child was a life, a future, a world unto themselves. So today we grieve for those named and unnamed. We grieve for those who have been lost. Grieving is an act of love. If your grief feels infinite, know that it is because your love is parallel in magnitude. Grief holds us accountable for our better selves. Grief in its truest form is a call to action. It's a pain that reminds us not only of what we've lost, but of what we stand to lose. And so we need this council to rescind 248 in order to ensure that trans kids are safe, loved, and seen at District 2 schools. And we need this council to pass Resolution 265. And students deserve to have a voice and a vote in decisions made about their education. To help us continue to get out the word about what is happening right here on Community Education Council 2, keep turning out for trans lives, not just on Trans Day of Remembrance, but every day and every meeting until we recite 248. To bring up people who care about justice, especially parents in future meetings, and help us find great parent volunteers who are eligible to run for a CEC to join me in seeking a seat up the council and at all CECs across the city. From others. When trans kids are under attack, what do we do? Yeah.
Anyone that sounds like that? Because if you sign up on the sheet, it starts, looks like it starts with. Where's the host?
My name is Allie Blake. As you've heard before, if you've been here in recent months, I'm a trans educator, I am a trans education scholar, and I'm here in support of all the trans folks present and who might listen to this at any point. As many of the speakers have shared tonight, it is Trans Day of Remembrance, where we intentionally mourn the lives and avenge the deaths of beloved transgender ancestors. You've heard about the lives of everyday people going about their days, and through their actions, through our actions, making a world that truly actively loves trans people. So many of you here today take part in that work every day. We're still doing that work, and we will keep doing that work forever. So today, I will share the ways that I've witnessed trans people loving each other, to remember those moments. For instance, all the folks who gathered here, month after long days at work, squeezing in some dinner, checking on friends in the train ride, making their way here to share that trans people are loved. Parents listening to their children as they ask questions, wonder about themselves, taking time in the chaotic morning to dance to their favorite songs together. And the friends who dance the night away, raising funds for each other's needs. Trans communities are deeply, deeply skilled at keeping each other's spirits alive. Through dance, we've gathered in song tonight and in chant. We'll continue this work too. Calling of friends, coworkers, brothers, pals, siblings who can connect someone with a safe abortion. Teachers with impossible workloads sticking around during their lunch with a kid who wants to share their beautiful self, listening eagerly. If you listen to children, the council, you could join this love and do right by the youth that you claim to serve by rescinding 248. To trans youth and trans educators and trans family and all the trans folks listening, I'm sending you all my love.
Hi, my name is Hal Street. I'm a public librarian from New York Public Library, and I've actually done outreach at this school. I taught kids how to research weather systems and blizzards at this school using library databases. As a public librarian, I believe deeply in the institution that promises to serve all New Yorkers, all people who come into the library and help them get what they need. I think the public schools also have a duty to help serve all children, including trans children. I used to be a trans child, now I'm a trans adult. I didn't play sports in high school because I was encouraged not to, because it would confuse the gen teachers too much about what bathroom I should use. They confused the school in general too much about what bathroom I should use, so I used a nurse's office at the back of the school for all of my years in high school across the country. That was back in 2010. I believe that 248 is one step towards institutionalizing
punishment and bullying of trans children, as other people have said. I think that public libraries, public schools should all be designed for everyone. And trans children being able to access sports does not negatively impact any other people. Part of sports is sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and as they say, it's how you play the game. It's your friendships that you form, it's the camaraderie that you have with other children. If you're playing sports with other children and you're a child, you're not supposed to have an inferiority complex about your sex, because frankly, girls can do anything that boys can do. When I was a little girl, I beat little boys at sports all the time until I stopped playing sports in high school. There's nothing about sports that needs to be, frankly, segregated by gender at all. But as long as we have boys and girls teams, I think that self-identification is as reasonable a metric as anything else for allowing children to play sports and doing the things that all other children are allowed to do. Separate is never equal, and I think public institutions are for everyone. Thank you.
There's been a lot of great points made. But one thing I haven't heard talked about, in a sensible way is the biology situation. So I kind of wanted to talk about that real quick. I encourage all of the trans folks here, whether you're from Moms for Liberty or that boomer group that's here, to consider taking a DNA test. Because the likelihood that your chromosomes don't match the sex that you were assigned at birth is not statistically insignificant. All right? So, and on that note, I wanted to say that this resolution doesn't just exclude trans kids, it also excludes intersex kids. More thinking. This is a resolution founded on hate and bigotry, and there is no logic here. So if you want to use BS like science, at least do your research, or take a DNA test, and when you find out that your chromosomes don't match the sex that you were assigned at birth, and when you look into the fact that sex is a spectrum, you can have all female sexual genitalia parts and have XY chromosomes and still have kids, and vice versa with male genitalia with XX chromosomes. Yeah, just think about that, okay? So, and also, I just wanted to say, when trans kids are under attack, I use the rest of my time because y'all are ridiculous.
Okay, we're gonna be doing a recall just as the Ramasha Sutton. And then you have Matoko S. And then there's a two names that that's close to us. But that concludes our first public speaking session.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if this first get better. Okay. Microphone is. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for the most part, adhering to 2 minutes. I'm glad we were able to get through everybody and have everybody have a chance to express their opinions. So thank you for that. We're going to go over to my report. So good evening, happy November. Thank you for everybody for coming out tonight. I am excited by the progress of our council representing families. I do have a few things to report this evening. First, the superintendent held his second school spotlight earlier this month. I had the privilege of hearing from staff and taking a tour over at Group Middle School. A heartfelt thank you to Rocco Macri, the principal, as well as the staff for a very informative morning. Second, I know I have, and I think several other council members have as well, heard from many parents about the Wit and Wisdom implementation this fall as part of the rollout of the New York City READS program. A few schools did an early implementation last year, but for the most part, most schools are implementing it for the first time this year. Some schools have had success, while the feedback from some is that there have been some bumps on the way. I want to let everybody know that you're being heard. Superintendent McGuire and I have had extensive conversations about this. We did a survey where a number of parents have given their thoughts on the curriculum. The survey is still open, so if you haven't filled it out and you have thoughts on this, positive, negative, anything in between, please go to our homepage. The link is there, and we really do want to hear from you. If you recall, we formed the Wit and Wisdom Committee last year, and then President Silverman appointed me the chair. I'm pleased to announce that the Wit and Wisdom Committee, along with the District 2 leadership team, will be holding a joint meeting on Friday morning, December 13th at 9 a.m. for parents and anyone else who's interested to hear more about Wit and Wisdom. The experts will be answering some of the questions that we've been hearing through word of mouth and the survey. And by experts, we're going to talk about the superintendent, principals, I believe there may be some teachers on there, and the folks from Great Minds, I keep saying Great Plains, but Great Minds, who developed Wit and Wisdom. They're going to go through what the DOE is trying to do with the curriculum, how the rollout should be, and getting feedback for how it's going. This will be recorded. We know that not everybody will be able to make it. And this will be the first of, I believe, 3 parent workshops. I'm sure that the superintendent will talk about this in his report momentarily. Earlier this year, the council passed a resolution opposing the 60-day limitation on shelter stays for the families of public school students. As a reminder, under New York City policy, families in shelters have to reapply to stay where they were after 60 days. Meaning, in theory, because it's 60 days and 60 days and 60 days, during a school year, they could have to move up to 5 times. That's clearly creating upheaval for the families and the students in particular. This week, it was announced that families with children in grades K through 6 may only be required to move once after their first 60 days in a student shelter. That would be the only time in the year. While it's certainly a positive first step, it still does create situations where a student starts a new school and then the family has to face the dilemma of either being moved, staying in the school with a potentially long commute, or start over in a new school. So hopefully the powers that be at City Hall will move that even further to help our students most in need. Last night started a new chancellor's listening tour, which she had town halls in each borough. Last night was the Manhattan one. There will be 4 more over the next months, 1 in each of the other boroughs. For those families with 8th graders, a reminder that high school applications close on December 4th. For those with families with 5th graders, a reminder that middle school application closes on December 20th. And I should correct myself, it's families with 9th graders or 8th graders or 9th graders who might be looking to move. That they close December 4th. And finally, unfortunately, Superintendent McGuire and I will not be able to do a joint school visit on Monday, December 23rd. As the mayor and chancellor has announced that it will in fact be a day off, and the year-end vacation will start on December 23rd, so we'll all have the whole week. While he's not a District 2 student, I'd like to acknowledge Brooklyn 8th grader Isaac Regnier, who petitioned the PTA to strike the day from the calendar, garnering well over 20,000 signatures.
Mayor Adams acknowledged the influence that Isaac's actions had. I want to wish everyone a good, happy evening and a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for the opportunity to address you all. And I look forward to continued collaboration with our council members, district families, and teachers and the DOE. I would also like to thank our hosts at PS 59 tonight. Thank you for your hospitality. We greatly appreciate it. So, now we're going to move on to the report of the Community District Superintendent, Kelly McGuire. Can you, on that?
Oh, Mike, right here. Sorry.
And on that?
And unmute.
Unmute
there.
that?
I will come.
My computer? Yeah, my computer.
I got it.
The computer? Yes, it is.
Yeah, but it's a little tricky. For you to do.
Thank you so much for having me tonight, Council. I'm very happy to provide a report on how things are going here in District 2. I did want to start off by saying, making a few comments in regard to our policy in our district in regards to transgender youth and how it is that we are supporting our students and what the specifics of the policy are. These are words that are coming directly from me this evening, but I know that I'm joined by our Chancellor and our senior leadership who express the same support for transgender youth and our current policy in regard to how students are treated in regard to their participation in sports. I just wanted to highlight the specific policy and read it verbatim. It's not very long, but just to express and articulate what our support looks like. Our policy states that Department of Education, New York City Public Schools, sports and physical education programs, including physical education classes and school teams, are educational opportunities. Participation in these activities is integral to developing a student's fitness and health, self-esteem, and general well-being. Transgender and gender-expansive students must be given the same opportunities to participate in physical education as all other students. Generally, a student must be permitted to participate in physical education, intramural sports, and competitive athletic activities and contact sports in accordance with the student's gender identity asserted at school. So, I, first of all, just want to express appreciation for the folks who identified themselves this evening as District 2 parents who are raising children who identify as transgender or a member of the LGBTQ plus community. As I mentioned in our meeting last month, we have a lot of work to do. I recognize the constant work that must be done in our district and in our schools, but I'm very proud of the stories that were shared this evening, and I'm proud of some of the things that we've done over the past few years. 12 years ago, we as a system moved from having an organization, a student organization called a Gay Straight Alliance. And we moved from calling it the GSA Gay Straight Alliance to the Gender Sexuality Alliance in order to be more inclusive. Support for our transgender, non-binary, and gender expansive students has always been a focus of student leadership in our district. And several years ago, our student leadership engaged in a strong project with our borough president at that time. Teacher and school leadership in District 2 have done a fantastic job of establishing gender-neutral bathrooms and also have partnered with organizations outside of District 2. We have also done and are continuing to engage in partnership with the LGBTQ plus team that works out of our central office. As some of you know, that is a mighty team of two, but we have a strong relationship with them. And so, as in closing on that piece, I want to just express our continued support for our transgender youth, our policies to support them, and the work that we're doing day in and day out to support individual students and their families. Things. We here in District 2 are proud to say that our district has expanded by a bit over 1,200 students since 2023, 2024. We're close to about 22,100 students here in the district, and an additional 560 students who participate in our District 2 3K and pre-K programs. We have also seen a reduction in the number of students who are living in temporary housing in our district. We know that that's a bit in contrast to what it is that we have seen across the city. Our district attendance rate is up close to a point in comparison to this time last year, with our attendance rate being around 94.5%. But we also know that there's an ongoing issue of chronic absenteeism. About 15% of our students are chronically absent, meaning that they have been absent from school for 10% or more. This is in comparison to a citywide attendance rate of about 90,000 students. I'm also very proud to say that we have experienced, or we are seeing a dramatic reduction in suspensions as well as the incidences that relate to suspensions here in the district. To date, we have 36% fewer suspensions, and we have 18% fewer we have seen 18 fewer 4 and 5 level incidences, the most serious incidences for which students get in trouble in our schools. Currently, special education students are 94% of our students who receive special education are fully receiving those supports in our schools. As our CEC president, Frank Suskin, mentioned, we did have our second school spotlight visit at Baruch Middle School, MS 104. We were greeted both by the teacher and school leadership at 104. We had the opportunity to see classrooms, listen to their really fantastic orchestra, and we were joined by a few of our elected officials. That spotlight visit focused on 2 different areas. One was on the development of science classrooms, specifically on the ways that we are advancing biology in our 8th grade. The school also talked about how it is that they were making the arts more available to students attending their schools. We had a strong turnout. We have another spotlight visit coming up in December 4th, which will be held at 75 Morton. And we're really excited to be working with Principal Rivera and her team to take a look at, we're specifically going to be looking at how it is that this school has engaged in some minor reform over the past few years. As, it's like we're sharing a script here, but great.
Talk a lot, so.
Yeah, we're engaged in a lot of work around NYC Reads. And NYC Reads encompasses both the work that we're doing in our early grades around building phonics, as well as the ways in which we're building our core literacy curriculum in grades K through 5. We've seen really, really fantastic work that's happening in our classrooms. The best experience that we've had in recent weeks is on election day. We had thousands of our elementary school teachers come together on one Zoom and then break out both by grade level and then by school to share the experiences that they have been having. We recorded all of their ideas on a Padlet, and if I had gotten our tech situation ready, I would have been able to share some of that this evening. But we were watching, we were sitting there and listening to the Zoom call, watching the Padlets as we were talking with teachers, and all of a sudden the Padlets blew up with this really fantastic recording of experiences that teachers are having in classrooms with their students. So we're excited to share more of that, both on December 13th, where we have been encouraging and supporting our schools to do even more workshopping, more Family Fridays, more opportunities for families to get into classrooms to see this new curriculum in action. And we're excited to continue that work moving forward. What we didn't say about the family workshop on the 13th is that's one of 3. We've signed up now for one of 3 family workshops that we're going to be running at the district. And we do have a survey that is helping to guide the topics that we're going to be looking at in that work. Finally, again, sharing a script. I was last night, I attended the Chancellor's Town Hall at the graphics design campus on the west side. There was good turnout at the Chancellor's Town Hall. If you decide to attend the Chancellor's Town Hall meeting in the upcoming months in the other boroughs, basically what they do is that it's an interactive process. The chancellor and her team open up, but then we have roundtables, and anybody is available, or anybody is welcome to come and sit at a roundtable and talk about a few different topics that are really important to us in education, talking about how it is that we're supporting teachers with their work, how it is that we're supporting students, and how it is that we're creating safe and positive classrooms and schools. There were a few big topics that came up during that town hall last night. Special education was one of them. Of course, student safety, but specifically, not just the safety that's going on in the schools, but parents had quite a few concerns about safe passage and wanting to make sure that kids were safe from their transition from subways directly to schools. Transportation came up in regard to school busing, and the OmniCard conversation came up as well, which I know that this council has been supportive of, as well as ways that parents and families can communicate directly with schools and with district officials if they are trying to reach them. The next town hall is coming up next week in Brooklyn, and then December 3rd in Queens, December 10th in the Bronx, and December 17th in Staten Island. And this is an opportunity really for anybody to come out and talk about work that is happening in their schools and things that they want to see for the New York City Public Schools moving forward. Finally, a few key dates. We know that next Thursday and Friday, schools are closed for Thanksgiving. The high school applications close on December 4th. The middle school applications close on December 20th. That's an extension of 1 week. And then we are off for the winter recess, December 20th to January 1st, returning to school on January 2nd. And with that, thank you for the opportunity to share this report.
And thank you, Superintendent McGuire. Just one piece of housekeeping that I do earlier. Please note for the record that Alexander did come quite a while. Welcome. She did run your test. It went well. She came right from a very big exam, so kudos to Alexander. And then Councilmember Bowen just arrived as well. Are there questions from the members of the council for the superintendent? Start from the other roll. So that's just the first one. Councilmember Savage.
Thank you. Thank you for your supporting the gender guidelines. Really excited about that. On a different topic, did I hear you right? You said 94% use special education services.
Yes, that's right.
Can you clarify for us what mainstream services would be service?
No, 94% fully receiving services that are on their IEP. It includes both SEP services or ICT, as well as related services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy.
Yeah, Jessica, do you have any thoughts? Go ahead.
Have you measured that level of compliance? Some in middle schools and so I can tell you schools across the city, 94% schools are definitely on IEP. So when you make a presentation representing that, I think it's important for us to be able to understand why you think that's true.
Sure. It is not 94% across the city. The city rate is lower. In District 2, the rate is 94%. These are data that are captured centrally and reported back to me. Those are data that are reflected in the way that students are programmed, the way that SEPS teachers are recording their service with kids, the way that related service teachers are recording their work directly with kids. I will say in our district, if I'm roughly speaking, we have 22,000 kids in our district, and about 18% of kids in our district do receive special education services of some kind. So I am not using 94% as a marker of success. It is an indicator of what it is that we still need to do. There are services and there are some services that are challenging, but there are also services that we need to, that if we were to do more around teacher recruitment, around service provider recruitment, some of the services that we're providing for kids that are related to speech therapy or occupational therapy are as a result of us needing to hire more of those folks in our district. And in doing so, we would reach a higher level of compliance.
Councilor. Thank you for your report, Superintendent Warren. You mentioned that enrollment in the district was reported, from COVID, that enrollment was sort of down within our district. Do you know what percentage of those may be from migrant students, for example, or people that were here on a temporary or subject to a rule?
This number is in comparison to the number of students that we had enrolled at the end of the year last year. The number of students who are living in temporary housing has dropped by several hundred in our district. The number of total students in our district has gone up by 1,260. So the trend downward in enrollment has occurred across New York City for some time, not just from the pandemic. So it's hard to parse out what the factors are that are related. I'm just reporting to you the numbers. We have more students now than we did at the end of the year. Fewer of those students are living in temporary housing. That's great. Maybe some of our students who are living in temporary housing have secured permanent housing. But those are the numbers as they are officially captured by the city.
And one question I actually I don't want to be too much on the spot, so if you can get to me of the gross numbers. So how many came, how many left? Because that number is going to net to the increase. So I'm just curious how many came in and how many left. And I know we see in the district planning report at some point, survey of why people go to private. But if you have that information at some point, can you provide it to the council?
No, I can't. We can make a note of that. Team over there that will require share that data.
Thank you.
Just to follow up with what Craig mentioned, is there any concern, so the 1,200 figure that you mentioned, is that just basically for 1 month? You have it. In other words, last month we didn't have 1,200 figure, correct?
No, we didn't. Yep.
So is there any concern?
It's been pretty stable. It's about a 6% increase in students in the district.
Is there any concern about the fact that class size laws and plans in the districts, that's going to factor into your calculations about class sizes, things that you expect to continue?
Sorry, before you answer that, can you explain this for those of you in the audience and maybe some councilors who don't know? Talk a little bit about what we're doing, what the DOE is doing with class size and how it's not so much for now.
Yeah. So the New York City Public Schools has partnered with New York State. New York State has allocated a chunk of money to help our schools meet the new class size bill, which mandates that smaller class sizes across classrooms in grades K through 12. In our schools, principals working with their SLTs, their school leadership team, has had the opportunity to apply for additional funding that would be provided starting fall 2025, that would help to reduce the class size. Schools have to figure out how it is that if schools are applying for this money, they have to figure out how it is that they are going to reduce class size to the new state mandates, but not decrease the enrollment for their school. So for example, you can't decide that you're only going to accept 2 kindergarten classes when you currently have 4 in order to meet this guideline. So some schools have space. Some schools are able to use rooms that are empty. They will use the additional funding to hire an additional teacher, and they will be able to spread out, you want to say, the number of kids in a particular grade level. That probably will get harder in some schools because they have seen an increase in enrollment. There are some schools that are in our district that we're doing this and applying for this money for the 25-26 school year is not possible. But there are schools that are able to. What we are trying to do is achieve compliance with the state law, which mandates that next year we have to have 60% of our classrooms across New York City fall within the new class size mandates. We are currently at 46% as a city. In District 2, we are closer to like 20%.
Oh, and just, I'm sorry to beat this, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but is that going to, based on the numbers that you understand and the law as it's going to be implemented, will that reduce the total number, for example, of middle school seats that are available to students in the district in the next cycle?
I don't know what's going to happen down the line. I do know that for the 25-26 school year, if schools apply for this funding and they receive it and their plan for reducing class size across the building is accepted, that it is contingent upon the maintenance of that number of students who are currently attending. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, he's gonna explain it to me.
One comment, so what a school could theoretically do to do the class size, to comply with class size, as I was talking to one of the middle school principals, is, let's say, Superintendent McGuire is actually English teacher McGuire. English teacher McGuire at Baruch, just as an example. And he has a classroom that's dedicated to him. He is there all day, that's his classroom. It is not teacher Higgins' classroom, he doesn't share it. However, you could go to a model where you don't keep that classroom because you're not teaching, you're teaching only 5 periods a day. The classroom might be available for 9 periods a day. So you start sharing it, so there's a sharing of classrooms, and you can sort of accommodate that. Of course, you have to hire more teachers to accomplish that. And tell me if I'm saying anything incorrectly, but I think that's one way that
that's one way that a school
in the
might be
middle
able to
school.
do it. Yeah, that's one way that a school might be able to do it if they didn't have an empty room that they could
Right.
repurpose. Yeah.
But a middle school, you can't really do that with an elementary school, but a middle school you can.
Okay.
But to your point, Councilmember Silverman, I don't know what is on the horizon for 26, 27.
Thank you.
46 citywide?
46% compliance is citywide, yeah.
It seems to me, and you can comment or not comment, and I'll let my other council members speak, I apologize, but it seems to me that the DOE is basically throwing this at the schools and not dealing with it themselves. I mean, they kind of are because they're giving money. They're saying, you know, you can apply to this program, but they're basically putting the decisions and the onus, not even on you, but on your principals. Is that?
I'm looking at it, I'm just trying to see what's happening over there.
We can speak after. We can speak after if you want.
No, I mean, yes, the district is trying to provide some support.
Of course.
There are different configurations of schools, and the equation or the plan by which a school might make this work is really site-specific. So you might say, glass half full, that the people who are working at the school site
Right.
are the best ones to make the decision.
Right. And they're still laughing, by the way. And we're just gonna go down the line. Oh, you want to follow up on this specific question? Okay, so we have.
But in that case,
Go ahead.
the funds are there and they have to meet these metrics in order to get the money, but it's not, at least now, because the goal was to make the citywide, all the schools meet there. So if a school could in theory just not apply for the money and not have to meet the.
That's true, yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
Can you repeat this question?
Sorry, people on Zoom can't hear
Yeah.
us.
Oh.
So can you answer the question by restating it a little bit?
Sure. The question was,
Sorry. It was
whether or
loud.
not,
It was good.
I want to make sure I'm doing it right, but whether or not a school actually has to apply for the money. If they don't apply for the money, then they just maintain the class sizes that they currently have. Yes, we're kind of, I think, as a system or as a state, I don't know, taking it bite by bite, year by year is kind of the steps.
Thank you. Councilmember Agarwal, I think you had a question?
Yes. 3 quick comments. I mean, one, I just want to, on the class size,
To be honest, Chancellor Banks said, he went to Albany, he said, it's impossible to implement this law. Anybody has looked at the numbers, know that it's impossible to implement this law. So I don't think it's fair to say that Joey is throwing this on superintendents, because I feel Albany threw this on us. And everybody knows that it's literally impossible to implement, the timeline that they are saying with the facilities that we have and the reality that we have. Two quick things. One is there are a couple of schools that are still waiting for Omni cards to arrive. Kids lose their Omni cards. So if we can do anything to make sure that these schools are getting their Omni cards, because I know people are paying out of the pocket. I see some people, Then the other thing I just want to say about the curriculum. So I really encourage parents to fill out the form, come to the meetings that Kelly is gonna have, but also like I've heard from a lot of parents about the curriculum, and so if people want to reach out, I think it's really important that parents understand that there are implementation decisions that are at the school level, and so come and understand what is like mandated in the curriculum and what is a decision that your school is doing, because then I think you, as your community, can work together with the principal, with the SLT, to really make sure that we are addressing the concerns that people have. The one thing that I heard from a couple of principals, and I'm so excited about this, people are saying, these are the books that I was reading when I was in school. So I think there's a lot of classical books that have survived, the test of time. And so I know this is making a couple of educators very, very excited about it. So please, parents who have concerns about the curriculum, come to the meetings and really try to understand how you can address the issues that you have with your school, because I think that there is a little bit of a mismatch between concerns that people are having and saying that this is the fault of the curriculum.
Thank you.
Who else?
Elsie.
Go ahead.
Are you tracking any elementary schools in the district that have reduced the number of kindergarten classes from the start of the 23-24 school year to this year, the start of the 24-25 school year, so that they can get ahead of the number of kindergarten classrooms in order to say, oh, I want the money because I'm not going to reduce any further in the 25-26 year, because they, before they were tracking it on a state level, reduced this year. Are you looking at that as a district, and if so, how many elementary schools are we seeing reduce the number of kindergarten classes this year?
It's a really good question, and I can't say right offhand whether or not, I don't know whether or not we have seen any schools reduce the number of kindergarten sections. I don't think that we have, but there have been years in which we have. However, just in regard to the connection to the funds, schools are only receiving these funds if they are reducing further from the 24-25 school year into the 25-26 school year. So they can't, not all schools are going to get this money, only the schools that put a plan forward and increase the number of classrooms that comply with the state reg in 25-26. But I could, if you were curious as to like enrollment in kindergarten, I can pull that up fairly easily.
I'm happy to hear about this, about funding and how that is, how they're using the system to allow the schools to apply for it. And my understanding is that schools can, the ones that don't have the additional space, like in New York City, there's some that are maxed out to over the rules actually. And that's just the way it is, that they can apply for exclusion or apply to not have that rule apply to them.
That's a tool that might be codified, but we haven't seen it specifically yet.
I'm happy to hear that the enrollment numbers will decrease in some of these schools that parents want, they want to kids to, and that's great that they have the opportunity.
I got a question. Go ahead. Councilmember Healy.
Also, Craig, I think maybe some people are still waiting to get into the meeting, so
I'm not.
I mean, do you see anyone waiting?
There's nobody in here waiting.
Okay, that's it. So, Superintendent, am I correct in understanding that students with disabilities who have busing on their IEP are not able to receive the free Omni card? That was what I had heard.
I do believe that that is true, but I would just like to confirm that before saying it out loud, which I just did, so maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I do believe that's true.
Because we know that busing for our students with disabilities has been basically non-compliant. I mean, we know that most students with busing on IEPs are not getting busing or are getting extremely late or just unreliable. So I wonder what we can do either at the central level or at just district level or individual school level to, try to, find a few, make sure those kids get Omni cards as well. Because, even beyond the actual transportation to and from school, the Omni card serves students, 24/7, through vacation times as well. And so students with disabilities with, busing or IPs should be able to take advantage of that.
And I'd just like to add that busing is not included in that 94%.
If we included busing in that percentage, what would the percentage of compliance be?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that because Central doesn't report it, or because?
My guess is that it's captured somewhere. I just don't know exactly. And there are probably degrees of, compliance, implementation, and quality, of course, as well.
If you could, I know some of the stuff is on InfoHub, but if you could come back next month and give us some statistics about the busing compliance, that would be very, very appreciated.
Yes.
Oh, and sorry, one other question. We heard from the previous Chancellor David Banks about Resolution 248. He came to at the district town hall. He offered he said he personally rescinded it. Has our new Chancellor, Chancellor Reyes Ramos, made any public statement or statement to you, or has First Deputy Chancellor Daniel Weiser, who I know is kind of very plugged into these issues, have either one of them made any statement or to you or to otherwise anyone else about Resolution 248?
They have indicated their support for the continued for the policy.
That wasn't a question, Kelly.
The question wasn't whether they indicated their support for the current policy. The question was, have they made a statement publicly? Do they intend to, or have they given to you, which is less obvious for parents, officially stating their position on Resolution 248, not the policies that exist?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the emails that might have been sent to folks. There may be emails in which the support for the current policy is stated, but I'm not privy to that. I only know in my conversations and informal conversations with them that they are supportive of the policies that we have in place as a system.
But they had said nothing about Resolution 248.
They have not said anything specifically about 248 to me, no. Oh.
Any other questions for the council for the superintendent? Or for the deputy superintendents?
They're working on 2 hours of sleep tonight, so.
Okay. So thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you to you and your entire team. I know you have a big team at the district office. Thank you for all of your hard work, appreciate it. Thank you for coming tonight. Mute that, yeah. Okay. Any committee reports? We talked a little bit about wisdom, but are there any other committee reports?
I'm happy to say that I have nothing to report from the safety committee.
So.
Good.
And I hope it continues this way.
That's good
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, it's good news.
No issues, that's always a good news.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along, discussion of resolutions. Resolution 263, resolution urging the panel for educational policy to ensure continuity in the administration of the specialized high schools admissions test by approving the Pearson assessment contract. Do any of the council members wish to speak on this resolution or have any comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, I know a lot of people came late. I just want to reiterate what Maud had said when she introduced this resolution. A lot of us have seen this before. We saw it with the gifted and talented programs. People may disagree with gifted and talented programs. The way it was done used to be based on a test. I can tell you that I was at the very first meeting attended by Chancellor Kranz of the CPAC, the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council, and he walked in, and at his very first meeting, within the first few minutes of addressing the group, he said, "I don't believe in this testing," and all that kind of stuff. Now, you may agree, you may disagree with that position, but I do think that parent input is really important, and I think this is, as Maud described, an absolute terrible attempt to run around and circumvent the state law by saying we're not gonna fund the contract. We've seen this before. I hope we don't see it again, and it just leads to the cynicism that people have towards parent involvement in educational issues. So I think if you're gonna have a debate about the specialized high schools, it should be open, it should be transparent, it should be based on the merits, not based on a group of appointed individuals deciding to defund or not fund a testing contract. That's not the way we should be doing business. We need to have parent involvement in this, and I would absolutely support resolution number 263.
Thank you.
Yes, I also want to support resolution 263. I wish I was also sponsor of it now. But parents have been reaching out, outraged that this is potentially on the table so that they can lose an option for a high school. And many parents, the older ones have gone through the system, that have gone through specialized high school, and now we're taking away options for them for the future. For parents that don't want many, when my older one went took the SHSC, many parents who didn't want to, and I think that didn't want to take the test, that could be an option. But for many that do want their, or the kids that want to at least try, for them, I think it's wonderful to have that as an option, and we should not be taking educational opportunities away from our kids. We should be providing them with educational opportunities to excel in.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilmember Healy, sorry.
So, I think it's really interesting that we have, this council has two years for outreach. They had a year for the outreach about the SHSAT, and you're saying you're hearing the outreach, you're hearing the parent voice, and you want to respect that, you want to honor it. And on the other hand, you have the other year, and that is not hearing the outrage about the inclusion of transgender students in our schools. So what is it going to be? Are we going to stand here as hypocrites? Or are we going to be people who are responsive to our students and their needs? And so that's all.
I would like to remind Councilmember Healy that the resolution 248 was approved by a majority of this council, and whether you agree or disagree with it, we are representatives of the parents of this district.
Okay, sorry.
I would like to remind Councilmember Silverman that if you're going to be a representative of parents in the district, that means every parent.
not to cut off debate, I would like to keep this specifically towards 263. If you want to talk about the rescission, we have a resolution to talk about under. I'd rather just keep everything in the right bucket, but thank you. Thank you, go ahead, please.
Okay, so is there any reason why in the second whereas clause, the last line, you say the last sentence, failure to enter into a new contract with vendor which took specialized high schools in the position of not having the legally required tests to admit their freshman class for the fall of 2026. Is there any reason for the gender-specific term freshman in the second whereas clause? Can you motion to amend that perhaps?
Did you say something?
No.
No, not the second, it's the second whereas.
Oh,
We use the word freshman.
oh, okay.
Girls go to those schools too.
The only thing I will say is that I haven't looked at every high school, but most high schools that I've seen, they talk about their freshman class. It's the accepted nomenclature for the New York City public schools. If you want to change that, please, you feel free to advocate for that.
I motion to change that.
So what is your motion to change? You can't just say change it to what?
You need to make a motion to amend
Right, you
the,
please.
Amend resolution 263 to change the word freshman in the last line of the second whereas clause to ninth grade.
Okay.
wait, this is motion second.
Is there a second? Motion has been seconded. Is there any discussion on this resolution?
Yeah, I'll have some discussion, sorry. Not everything has to be looked through a gender lens.
Any other discussion? Go ahead. Yeah, you may speak. Councilmember Shachter Ehrenberg.
Okay, so just real briefly, because I am in a group chat for ninth graders, and, no, it wasn't an eighth grader one. Anyway, I'm in a group chat with parents, and people who have not gone through the American school system, the term freshman is confusing. So it just adds a little clarity. It's just interesting, this came up literally in the chat today, so I just think, fine. We all know what that number is.
We all know what number is. I don't.
We all know what that means.
I actually don't know what you're talking about, but okay. Any other discussion? Okay, let's take it to a vote.
Bree?
No.
Allison? Daniela, no. Gavin?
Just to clarify, we're voting to
Amend. It's the amendment. To your amendment, yes. your
Change
amendment.
the word.
Yes, ninth grade.
We're voting on your motion.
Yes.
No, not the resolution, the amendment.
The amendment to change from freshman to ninth grade.
The word.
The word freshman to ninth grade. Charles, how would you like to vote on this motion?
Okay, let me have the mic. So, okay, hold on a second. So let's back it up a second. Okay, back it up a second. So, in the second whereas clause, the word, it says admit their freshman class to the fall of 2026. Councilmember Healy has made a motion to amend the word freshman. So instead of saying admit their freshman class of the fall of 2026, it would say admit their ninth grade class to the fall of 2026. Yes.
The language.
Under the language.
Not the man.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
To waste the time on, seriously?
Mom?
No.
Sono?
What? Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Sabina?
No.
Len?
No.
Craig?
No.
Lila?
Abstain.
Alexandra?
Abstain.
Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses. The motion does not pass.
Here's this guy. Let's look at this. Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments? Are there any other comments or discussion on this resolution? Well, we do it after. We do the discussion, we do the vote after. Yeah. Okay. So, next.
Sorry, I have one question, like clarification.
Yeah.
So.
Go ahead.
Just, with respect to this contract, it would just, sorry, it's a small thing.
Sorry.
I just want to understand, my understanding is that everything would then be computerized for this, right? There would not be a paper option unless.
Your mic's not really working.
Okay, your question is
There
about.
would not be a paper option
Okay.
unless you had an accommodation.
Correct.
For it.
Correct. So if anybody didn't hear her, hopefully you can hear me. So her question was, under this new contract, would the test be computerized? So in other words, you're taking it on the computer like the SATs are now, not taking it by a piece of paper, unless you get an accommodation. If you have a certain accommodation, I believe you still can get it through a paper, but otherwise it would. And the answer is yes. Under this contract, it is now going to be
Got it.
computerized.
So that students, for example, who had less access to computers would have less access for preparation for taking this test if this contract were accepted in this form.
Correct.
The tests happen at school. The kids get the SHSAT test are at school, and if they're absent from school, it's scheduled.
Right now, I'm not asking about when
Right.
to take the test, I'm asking about preparation and their understanding of what it's like to sit in front of a computer and have access to that on a daily basis as compared to their general lives and they don't have as much access.
Yep, your comment is noted.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other points of discussion? Okay. So we're going to move to the next resolution, Resolution 264, resolution to affirm CECD2's support of NYCPS's guidelines to support transgender and gender expansive students, and rescind Resolution 248. Does anybody would like to comment on this or discuss this from the council?
Craig?
Councilmember Love, we'll start with you. We'll start there and go over.
Yeah, it's gonna be 3 of them, too. I would like to.
Oh, your microphone's ready. Turn the microphone on.
Are you ready to turn it on? I would like to discuss the fact that, as I think we did last month, that's insane that we're still discussing this. And some of the people have been coming up to speak as they can in public speaking sessions, and they can, voice their opinions and say what they want to say. But some of them address us directly, and they asked if anything that they were saying was moving us. And I can't speak for the others, but I can definitely say you are indeed affecting me and moving my thoughts and my ideas on these and other topics. I just want you to know that.
In what direction, Carl?
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Okay. Councilmember Mount?
Just know that I'm moving.
Yeah, I'd like to say that, this has become theater, and I fully recognize that some people feel very passionate about these issues on both sides, but this is a council that I have served on since 2017, and I have served with a tremendous number of very dedicated parents, some of whom I agree with on almost everything, and some of whom I agree with on almost nothing, but parents who show up again and again to do the relevant work of this district, and who work incredibly hard and donate an incredible amount of their time and their effort and their energy to improve the education of our kids. This is so selfish and self-indulgent to hijack our meetings. And I want to say clearly that the resolution I wrote and that this council passed asked for a conversation that included
Okay. Okay, there is a second public session and people will have the opportunity to express themselves. Thank you.
I am going to say that next month will be the 10th month of histrionics. people who disagree with you and have different points of view. When you stand up and
Everybody will have sorry, wait, one more. Everyone will have an opportunity to express themselves in the second public session. Please wait and let the council members speak. Thank you.
the people who are standing now and turning their back and humming and complaining all the time have made it incredibly clear that they do not want to listen to other people's point of view.
You don't listen to us.
I will tell you.
You're on your phone the whole time, you don't listen to us.
And I've raised 4 children past the toddler years, so I'm very familiar with this kind of tantruming, and it doesn't throw me. What we are going to do.
Okay, I will remind everyone yet again, you will have the opportunity to speak. Now, if you keep doing this, you'll have less of an opportunity because we will get thrown out of here at a certain time. We have to be done by 9:45 to clean up and be out by 10. If you keep interrupting people, whether it's Maud, whether it's Len, whether it's Jessica, whoever it is, I have to cut less, there'll be less time for the second public session. So I implore you, if you would like to express yourself in the second public session, please let the council members speak. Thank you.
I'm going to say this. I have absolutely no idea why you care so much about whether I'm paying attention to what you say or not, why you address me by name, or why you're concerned about it. But I will tell you that if you want to get people to listen to you, you should demonstrate the tolerance that you're seeking. So, when Amaya Perez stands up here and speaks, when Liz Bennett stands up here and speaks, when the parents of girls who are very concerned about not having same-sex sports in their schools speak, you should sit down and listen politely and model for me the kind of behavior you think I should show to you when you stand up here. I have spent years on this council. I have spent years going back to 2017 respectfully listening to people who have told me all sorts of things for a really long time. This particular crowd takes the harassing, bullying behavior to an absolute extreme, and I just want you to know how incredibly tedious and boring I find it. If you want to have a real conversation, you can start by listening to people you disagree with respectfully. I will tell you now that you can come to these meetings from now until eternity, and it will not stop my insistence that sex-based rights that protect girls and women are occurring in New York City schools and everywhere else.
Okay, I'm going to implore you again, because I do not want to have to cut part of the, limit the time in the second public session. I think we're going to have to do it, but I'm doing this because we would like to express that you get to speak in the second public session, but it's not going to be the same amount of time if we keep interrupting people. I apologize.
One more thing that's very relevant that I think is very important for council members to hear and for parents who are watching at home to hear. Parents have reached out to me about District 2 situations where there are trans students competing and where their female children who are athletes in the schools are deeply unhappy and deeply concerned and know that they cannot. This is so tedious. The parents who reach out to me will tell me things like, I can't possibly speak up because I'm worried about consequences at home. I want you to understand that nobody who gets up here, I'm going to keep speaking, and as Frank said, you're just going to lose time to speak. There are parents who will not come and speak publicly about their concerns about the gender guidelines because the politics in New York City, as demonstrated by all the politicians who have been attacking me and complaining about this resolution, the politics of this city still make it hard for parents who want to defend same-sex rights to speak up. And so, while I understand that if you go by the numbers, there are more people taking this microphone and saying they want to rescind, that's because Jerry Mack, Brad Hoyle, Mark Levine, Tony Simon, and every other Democratic legislator in this city has stood up here
We don't wanna hear what girls say. We don't wanna hear from female activists about same-sex cars. I stand with the girls and I always will.
Thank you. Okay, I want to give the opportunity for other council members to comment on this resolution. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd just like to make a couple statements, please. I'm not gonna do a political speech because I'm not running for anything. Everybody that the elections are coming up. So please, if you can think about running for CEC, if you're interested, feel free to reach out, we'll talk to you about it. In very least, votes, only 4% of eligible parents voted in New York City. Okay, that's an entirely small number. It should be eligible, families and eligible parents. Anyway, so get people out to vote, because that's what we do with elected officials who don't represent us, right? We vote, and that's what we can do. And I think that I appreciate people coming out to say these things. I appreciate the fact that this is not an opportunity and should not be an opportunity for our political grandstand. I don't make money off this, and I have no fear. I work in social services. You can find me on LinkedIn, you can see where I work, and I have no fear that my job will ever hurt, impact me, because that's what happens when you start work to support all people. I thank you, if we can talk to people, because apparently Mom's going to address the audience. Thank you for coming out. I thank you for everybody speaking. I don't, listen, I'll listen to every side. I don't agree with it, but I don't like the yelling. It's, listen, nobody likes that at 7 o'clock at night. But what we can do, all right, is not use this as a pulpit or a way to make money on the side, all right? We're volunteers, not reports, all right? So thank you.
Any other council members want to speak? Go ahead.
No, go first. I'll go after. Sorry. Okay. Is it on? How does it?
Show her how to turn on.
This? Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. So I've been competing in volleyball since 6th grade. I've been competing in the PSAL A division, save for this year. And some of my teammates have been trans, some of my competitors have been trans, and I can say with full confidence that that has not impacted the way that I embrace the game. And I think that originally I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to, listen to both sides. So I think it's interesting to see the dialogue, but just seeing how my community has mobilized and really shown that this issue is so important to us and our future and our past, I really feel like I should speak up on this. I just want to say thank you for coming. But as a final note, I'll keep this very, very short. I think it's interesting because I'm really the only person I've heard so far that competes in girls' PSAL sports, and I've been doing so for 6 years. So I think I'm a little qualified to talk about this.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Savage.
Hi,
Oh, sorry.
I'm her student representative. I would just like to reiterate what I said at the last meeting. I have been talking to, obviously, we are just 2 students out of so many, but I have kind of, over the past couple months since I've been in this council, I've tried to talk to different students, get their opinions, get their views on different issues, and when I brought up Resolution 248, I saw 1 of 2 responses. One was they didn't know that this was even up for debate. It wasn't something that ever occurred to them to worry about or complain about, which I think is really telling, that kids are going to participate in sports. They're going to, a lot of the kids I talked to, it did not matter to them either, they're just going to keep going. They're going to keep playing sports. And then the other group was adamantly opposed, which I think, nobody I talked to was against trans folks playing in sports, especially trans women. I have 2 younger siblings. I spoke to them to kind of get a younger perspective. I asked them to ask their friends what their perspectives would be, and I kind of got the same the same viewpoint. So I think that's really telling. I feel like this council is supposed to represent students in District 2. I just want to make sure that their voices are heard. I know we've heard from so many adults, but I just really want to make that very clear when it comes to this resolution. Thank you so much.
Because everybody else has said this far more eloquently than I could. I imagine there's a chance that everybody on this stage right now might agree that we would prefer not to have to bring this every month. Shockingly, you might all agree, probably for different reasons. The reason I feel compelled to co-sponsor this every month is because of the teeny tiny little bit of pretend power that we have as council members, which is so small. We get a microphone every once in a while, and I'd like anybody who is a family member, who is an ally, who is a student, who feels harmed by the language that is used in this resolution, 248, understands that there are at least some council members on this board who do see you and do care and do stand up for your rights. And so while it may have passed, not everybody up here agrees with it, and I think it's important to remember that and to at least give that voice as well.
Thank you.
Gavin, Councilmember Hills.
So first of all, I want to sort of categorically reject the premise that every opinion, every view on something is worthy of the same respect. And we have been, people in this council keep asking for robust conversations, but we've been having a robust conversation for months. It's just not the conversation you want to have, and it's not the people you want to be having that conversation with. I can guarantee you, like I'm the chair of the Students with Disabilities Committee on this council, and I will be represented on this council. I can guarantee you there are people in our city, there are parents in our district, and there are parents sitting up on the stage with me now who don't want students with disabilities in the classroom with their children. We don't have to entertain that. We don't have to make a committee to decide whether those children are. And this council has had ample opportunities to stand up for girls' rights in sports. You know, we have 1,800 schools, public schools in New York City. We have 61 full-size athletic fields. I would do the math, but that's not very many of 1,800 schools for 900,000 students. We could advocate for that, but there has never been advocacy for that in this council. There's never been advocacy for that. And yeah, like Councilmember Savage, I do not want to be up here again and again reading this resolution, but I will, because I think it's important. I think we saw, one person on this council talked about the theatrics. But look at the theatrics today. We had a chance to protect, we had a chance to stand up for girls' rights in specialized high schools. But we can't do that. We can't do that as a council because of some people's, frankly, arrogance that they're not willing to say that they are wrong, that they should have a more sort of gender expansive, gender inclusive, attitude. And so, I think we're seeing the hypocrisy here tonight. We're seeing the theatrics, and we're seeing the unwillingness of our council to listen to the community. And you know what? I'm sure that no parents of transgender students called Maud, went to Maud and asked them about their kid. Would you go to her and ask her about your transgender student? Of course you would. Of course you would. She has made that clear.
Councilmember Silverman.
Thank you. I'm not here to try to change anyone's opinion. We had this resolution since March, and I'm not going to debate it. I think we've done that already. You could agree or disagree. But what I would like to just point out is I have noticed, especially what was made apparent at the end of the last meeting when a public member, a person who was speaking publicly, just literally cursed out and used profanity on a number of the people on the stage. I would like to think that maybe we can agree to disagree, and we could try to tone down the rhetoric. I guess that maybe I'm having unrealistic expectations, but I'm sorry, but again, there are people that disagree with the people's positions, and sorry, that's the best I can do. It's interesting because I would say that the rhetoric, the tone has definitely changed from March, April, May, and you just have to just listen to what's been said here tonight. But again, I'm not here to change anyone's mind. I would just hope that we can try to at least tone it down a little.
Okay. Any other comments on this resolution? Okay, so we're gonna move on. Resolution 265, resolution to allow binding voting by student members of community education councils, citywide education councils, and the panel on educational policy. Does anybody have any comments or wish to discuss this resolution? Redmond?
Okay, hear me out on this, because before you start yelling and screaming, here's what I think of this particular resolution. And by the way, my son was the student member during the last term of the Community Education Council. I think we've had some wonderful comments and insightful thought and input from our student members. There's no question about that. But I would like to reiterate or point out that we are not obligated to, but we as a courtesy, as a council, extend a symbolic vote to our student members. We allow our student members to have time to speak and to express their opinions, as they've so eloquently done tonight. And I think most of you, I'm willing to go on a limb, say agree with the opinions that have been expressed by our student members tonight, who have spoken very eloquently, a lot more eloquently than I probably have. So I acknowledge that. However, I would point out that our student members are also appointed by our district superintendent. That doesn't mean that our superintendent is specifically appointing people with certain viewpoints or things like that. But I do think it's important that that our council also be, the vast majority be elected rather than appointed. So I have an issue with this resolution. I think we extend our student members opportunities to speak, symbolic votes, but there's nothing, I just think that you're kind of opening a Pandora's box. And it's not because we don't want to hear from our student members, because again, we give them that ability to do. But I do think we need to get more away from appointments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Can you pass the microphone to Councilmember Love? Okay, sorry, I didn't. Okay. I am watching, I'm trying to watch everybody. If I don't see somebody, I'm going to address this, I don't really like to address these audience, if I don't see somebody, it is not a conspiracy. He had said before that he wanted to speak, and I didn't see. We're a straight line. So please, try to understand, this is not a conspiracy to not let them speak. Okay. Thank you. So who wanted to speak? Go ahead.
Yeah.
You'll go after. Let them speak.
Sorry.
Well, actually, we should let council members speak before this.
It's fine.
No, go ahead.
You know,
I mean, it's just, this is
let them speak. Let the ladies speak.
it's okay. I'm not silencing anyone.
Hi. I will say that while I was appointed, I'm going to do my best to make sure that I'm listening to all these students to hear their different viewpoints. I'm not here to push on the agenda. I'm here to kind of do what this council is meant to do, to represent a very large district. So I'm, of course, in support of this resolution. I believe that our voices matter. I believe that the whole point of this council is to kind of make sure that parents and community members, but especially students, are having their voices heard. And I think the way to do this is to have it that student representatives actually have a vote. Talking is great, but we want to share issues that we're passionate about. And once again, we are not here, like I think I speak for both of us, to like push any agenda. We're gonna just represent the students the best we can. So I wanna like say that to all the folks who might be opposed to approving this. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so just seconding that, the people that we were appointed to were, if I'm not mistaken, elected by the people, so by proxy, we are elected. But also, yeah, I think it can be sometimes, it can seem sometimes like we're trying to be, countercultural or, pushing this agenda. But I think that the entire premise of having a community education council, at the end of the day, all of us joined here for different purposes. I don't think that I'm mistaken in saying that. But at the end of the day, we are all thinking about the students, us, who these policies are affecting, right? So I think that reflective of a lot of the democratic institutions that we exist under, I think that it's very much so fair that the people who these policies are directly affecting and the people who interact with the people who the policies are affecting, for example, the Omni card or things like that, where we interact with these students on a daily basis, and I think that it would be more reflective of the students and of the parents in CECD2 to grant us a vote.
Thank you, Councilmember Love.
I won't even say what I was gonna say before, because there's other things to say. I'm just saying that I'm gonna ask for some clarity and honesty, which I know is a weird thing to say. But I wonder, as looking at the sponsors of this resolution, if they would say the same thing, wonderful kids that students that they don't cancel, but if one of them was, I don't know, a homophobe like Maud or a racist like me, would they still want their vote? Right? Would they still be saying, I still want them to vote? I was going to take the mic and say, yes, we know the truth. We know the truth. So it doesn't even make sense that we would say, in this case, double the number of people who are appointed to say you're not pushing an agenda, but to, like they're all cheering when they speak. They're cheering for the fact that they should be allowed to have a vote on the council. And I just wonder, and I guess Sarah's going to answer that question, whether they would want two little mods to vote.
Charlie, we're cheering because their children.
No, I'm asking Sarah.
Okay.
Don't engage.
2 points quickly.
Go ahead.
2 points quickly. One is, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but again, I have a degree in education, so I think about people. I actually reached out to the students. I don't know if anyone else of you reached out to them to invite them to my school visit to see how they.
Let her.
First of all,
speak.
let me finish. Thank you.
You're very welcome, but I didn't really let you finish, so why'd you say thank you? I didn't.
Okay.
Charles.
Stop with the roll. No, I thought this is what we were doing.
Okay, Charles, you have the mic. Charles. Stop, okay, both of you, please, both of you, time out, back to your corners, please. Charles, it's her turn to speak. Charles, Okay, please. Okay, Charles, please. Okay, Charles, I will recognize you after, please. Charles, I will recognize you after. Charles, please, I ask you. Okay, let's.
I'm not mad at this.
Okay.
Now we got more pathetic.
Okay, please. Sarah has the microphone. It is her. She has been
The
recognized.
chair has recognized Sarah.
Okay, then let her speak.
Let her speak.
Go ahead, Sarah. You got the mic. Go. You have the mic.
Okay, Charles, please stop.
Come down here, please.
Please, thank you.
I told you.
Here's the thing, is that
Okay, here's the thing.
Charles, please.
Let her speak, please.
Thank you, Charles.
I'm sorry, it's security come because apparently I'm not expecting the I'm sorry.
Sarah, please speak, just speak. Sarah, please speak, just speak. Ignore him, please speak.
He's been muted already.
Okay.
He's been muted.
Get him out.
I can't
And there will be
tell,
a-
okay, Sarah, I am doing the best that I can.
No, I'm not blaming you.
I
I'm
am
not
asking
blaming
you to do, I'm asking you to do this. I'm asking, just speak, just go on, just ignore,
Will
please.
not be engaged. I have reached out to our students to try to engage them further. I did not know who they were or their politics when they joined. I don't know how they're going to vote. As a human being, do I want them to vote along with me? Sure. Everybody loves to have compatriots. But I believe, again, that people deserve representation. Maud says that people deserve representation. She's there. And I do think it's very interesting saying that people were appointed. You can point out again that Sonal and I were both appointed by the Manhattan Borough President, who got a lot more votes than anybody else on this guy. So I'm not saying I'm better. I'm just saying my vote counts. I'm just saying my vote counts. And I believe these students are putting in the work. Okay, we know we don't have a ton of power. We're just sending this up to the state to see if they can maybe think about representation and voting, all right? To think about democracy in action. These students are here to bring the student voices, and those voices should have power, all right? I hope that the students that go to Maud someday feel safe again to come and say what they need to say, again, because students are the ones who deserve the voice. And I will look at them when they speak, and I will respect them, because they have their lived experience. Just like I look at everybody else when they speak, because you have your lived experience, okay? And so I'm not here to judge that. Okay, we're good, all right? Thank you very much for toning it down, Charles. Really
Okay.
be able to pull it together.
Okay.
You said you didn't know who they were when they
Okay.
joined.
I
but You knew who they were when you sponsored the resolution.
Okay. Is there anybody who hasn't spoken on the resolution? I'd like to let anybody who has not spoken on it.
Yes.
Anybody want to speak? Okay, go ahead, Pri.
What?
It's all your fault.
I want to say thank you to the students for voicing your concerns and, speaking up today, and definitely we spoke very eloquently and we value your opinion. I'd say having a high schooler myself, there's student unions and student government in high school where students do have a vote and a voice, which I appreciate is a good place for students to be at. And at this, one day you will also, we hope you're a CEC member in training, right? You see how, and you're doing a wonderful job, and then you will have a vote for now, I say the parents and the ones who have been elected and appointed. My vote is to allow them to have a vote. Thank you.
Good example for the kids.
Is it on?
Is it?
Did you turn yours on? Did yours turn on? Sorry.
Something's feedbacking. Is it on?
I also want to say, as to this resolution, I would say, first of all, thank you to both of our student members. These are not easy councils to always sit on, even when we don't have, the current drama that we have going on. It takes a lot of hours, it takes a lot of time, and especially for students who have so much homework. I really do respect the effort of coming and being here. And I'll also say that I've been on this council for a long time. It's not always been easy to fill the student seat. So we haven't always had students in our very large district willing to do it. So both of our student members deserve a lot of credit for being here. But I would like to point out something that I think hasn't been discussed, which is our council is a council for 3K through 8th grade. It is not a high school council. So when the member who introduced this resolution said these students are directly impacted by what we do, it's not entirely accurate. We do have a CCHS, which is a citywide council on high schools. And the argument that student votes on that council, I think might be a more persuasive argument. I wouldn't commit to it one way or the other right now, but I don't sit on that council, but I do think it would be more relevant. We are at a council that goes until, that represents students in elementary school and middle school. High school students, have already passed through those years. And in my years on this council, what I've often seen is students that have benefited enormously from some policies, like for instance, specialized high schools and accelerated rigorous programs and stream schools, get caught up in the moment of saying, oh, we should get rid of all of that in the name of equity, we should get rid of everything, and what you're seeing is the exact opposite of students advocating for things that directly impact them. You're seeing students who no longer have skin in the game because they've already received the benefit of a program that's been in place and are then advocating to tear it down. That is one real life example of why I would be very reluctant to have students vote, because my experience over many years in this council is it does take some time and some wisdom to look back and be able to understand what benefit you got out of the school system. And I will say that the parents that routinely come to our council and speak up to preserve academic rigor are doing so because their children have yet to go through the system, and they truly do have skin in the game in a different way than students who are about to exit the system. And that differential, the K-8 focus of this council, is something that I think was missing in the introduction to this resolution and in the comments that I heard thus far tonight.
Okay.
You have no skin in the game, you're not in school.
Wait, may I say something? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
Actually, I think
I will
I
say,
have that.
I know I'm obviously in 12th grade. I'm nearing the end of my journey in New York City Public Schools. I have been a New York City Public School student since first grade when we moved here from Minnesota. I am very proud to have gone to New York City Public Schools for all of these years. I also have younger siblings who are directly impacted by this. I actually go to a school that's a 6 through 12 school. So when I speak personally about these, it's not because maybe they won't directly impact me, but they will directly impact my folks that go to my school. And I mean this very respectfully to all of you. Like, I believe that as students, we maybe are, yes, we may be closer to the issues, but I think that gives us a unique perspective that maybe adults don't have. Again, I say this very respectfully. I think that it seems counterintuitive to say we're too close to it, because I kind of believe that that's good in a way, right? I can look back and I can see all these years that I've been in public school. I've seen what's worked, I've seen what's not worked, and also just because I'm leaving next year doesn't mean I don't want to better the environment for current students, future students. If I have my own kids, if they go to New York City Public Schools, like I want to make sure that it's a good environment for everyone, not just for high schoolers. Yeah.
Bob, you can learn from that.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll keep this really
Yeah,
short.
we have to be done.
Yeah.
Keep it short, but I
of
just,
course.
yeah.
Sorry, just keeping it really, really brief. As I said at the beginning, I have actually started a 501c3 nonprofit for students in grades 3 through 5. We've raised $13,000. I've been awarded by the New York State Assembly for my work in the district. Not to toot my own horn, I'm sorry. This sounds so patronizing. And I've had the joy of serving over 100 students, but our program has served over 500 students. So by this, I interact with 5th graders and 3rd graders twice a week, so I do think I have a pretty good sense. But moreover, I've also been a K through 8th grader in the district, and I think that coming, and again, no disrespect, but coming from an adult perspective, I think that, again, my school is a K through 12 school. I interact with my little sibs who are in 7th grade every day, so I think that I do have this direct interaction with the communities that these resolutions are impacting.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Councilmember, someone want to say, then I'm going to ask that we just move on after that because we don't, I'd like it to be, and I'm asking both of you to be very quick because it's already 9:15. We have other stuff to do, so thank you.
Again, this isn't about silencing students. This isn't about, we've certainly welcomed their opinions. What this is we currently have 10 members of this council who are elected directly by parents. There are 2 borough president appointees, that's fine, we all have a vote. Do we change the dynamics where we have a majority that are appointed by the borough presidents? I'm just saying, what we're doing in giving any number, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, whether we have 10 student representatives, then we're reducing the number and the percentage of elected parent representatives in this district. We changed the whole dynamic of what this Community Education Council was designed to be. Now, the last thing I would say is, well, whatever, that's fine.
Okay.
Gavin, go ahead.
Yes, so just 2 things. One is, Resolution 248 was all about the public schools athletic league. And the public school athletic league, like by and large, like 95% of the students participating in public school athletic league sports are in grades 9 to 12. So this council, as you stated, doesn't, cover grades 9 to 12, but for some reason, Resolution 248 was somehow out of the way. I don't know why. The other thing I would say is in the interest of conciliation and the interest of understanding Councilmember Silverman's position, I'd like to offer, maybe a chance we could amend this resolution to provide, it seemed like your issue was that the students are appointed and not elected, and if it makes a difference, I'd like to add a clause that would just say something like, therefore be it resolved that the District 2 CEC calls for direct student elections of the student members of the CEC. And if that would, convince you, if that would bring your objections, then I'm happy to bring that as a motion to amend.
And I get that, but the issue is, are the parents voting for the student representatives? I mean, that's the issue. So it just opens a whole Pandora's box.
I was thinking the students, but.
I know, but then again, now that takes away from the parent percentage and representation. It's a philosophical debate. It's not, I get what you're saying. I appreciate it.
So would my amendment affect
it doesn't affect the ultimate result, but I do appreciate the fact that you're trying to be conciliatory, and I get what you're saying, and it makes sense, but it's a little more complicated. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, can we, because it's already 9:17, we still have more to do, and we also have to have the business session as well. So can we move on?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so.
Again, it's all your fault.
Yeah,
This I'm going to throw back to the. Okay. Please.
Our bad.
Sorry. So we have, sorry, can we all?
That was a joke. No, it's not.
We have, it's 9:17, we have to be done with the meeting by 9:45 so we can close up shop and be out by 10. That's when the security will throw us out. It's not us, it is what it is. We have 31 people on the second speaker session sign up. There is no chance that we can give everybody 2 minutes.
Not even 1 minute.
We can do 15 seconds or 30 seconds. It's not, I'm trying to work with you, or we can suspend the second session. And I'm not trying to mute anybody. I'm just trying to be realistic in terms of we have things to finish up and we have to be out.
But we're not going
We need to vote.
But there are other items on the agenda.
Meetings, yes.
To skip the second public speaking session due to time.
I second.
Okay, we'll take it to a vote.
Why did you say no? Just vote.
I said we'll take it to a vote.
Is there a debate or?
I second.
Do we want to have a debate on this? Because that takes time for, it's taking no purpose.
Let's have a debate.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Okay.
I'll hold it. It's fine.
So just clarify what the motion.
So to clarify,
You wanted to cancel the second public speaking session.
Go ahead.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. The motion is to suspend the second public speaking session. If you're voting in favor of it, yes.
Due to time.
Yes.
3.
Either vote.
Allison.
Yes.
Daniela, yes. Gavin.
No.
Charles.
We don't follow any rules here anyway. Would you all do 30
No.
seconds if we said yes?
There is no.
I don't believe it. No.
But would it change your opinion?
Maud.
No. Is that what you're trying to do?
No,
Maud.
No.
Yes, you want to be yes.
So no. So no.
So we're voting to,
Suspend it, suspend the section, suspend it.
can we at least do a quick show of hands?
So, we have a vote, you have to.
You're just delaying even more.
Okay, that's fine, we're in a vote, we can't do that.
Yes or no?
Because the answer is no, she said no.
No? Okay, Jessica?
I mean, yes.
Jessica?
Jessica's gone.
Huh?
Jessica left.
Oh, okay. Sarah?
No.
Sabina?
Yes.
Len?
No.
Craig?
No.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't pass, right?
Doesn't pass with 6,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Now, how about a motion to limit the time?
So, can I have a motion, can I have a consent, we don't have to do a vote, hopefully we don't do a vote. Can we agree to limit it to 30 seconds a person? I'm looking at people.
We gotta decide quickly.
We gotta decide, it's taking the time. Yeah, I know you were, but other people were not.
Yes, 30 seconds.
Okay, can we just suspend the vote and just
It's
agree?
gonna take 15 minutes
Okay.
at least, and
Okay.
then we don't even
So,
have time to
we're gonna
vote,
do
so-
30 seconds a person.
Please
okay?
try to keep it to the 30 seconds.
Please try to keep it, we're trying our best, I wanna hear as many people as possible. If you go on for 2 minutes, then it's not fair to other people who wanna speak. Okay, Pri, you wanna go down there?
I'd like to formally thank Bree for handling the timing.
Yeah.
Do we have the sheet?
She has the
Good
sheet.
at this.
Oh, you have the sheet now.
All right, so I'm going to call out a number of names, so guys, line up if you want to be heard. We'll try to get this. So it looks like Michael Hirsch or Michelle Hirsch, not sure, Kirsch Ho. Then we have Josie Barak, then George looks like Escobar, Ayasha Saeed, and Elizabeth Fidali. Those are the first couple speakers. So if you've heard your name called, even if we skip the order, as long as you're heard, so you want to just,
Could you unmute the computer, please? Thank you.
and just let me know who's speaking, just so we know, we can mark it down on the sheet.
Anyway,
Thank you. Hey folks, my name is Mika Kirishito. We use pronouns like he, they, and we, and I am a national expert in suicidology. I'm here just to say really briefly that across the APA, White House Initiative for Mental Health, HHS, and a couple of different folks that I've worked with, every single study I've encountered says that the most important way to prevent suicide for our young people is to demonstrate an unconditional love and understanding for them, and understand that we cannot be limiting their options, we can only be giving them forward. In addition, I also want to point out that sports and sports scholarships, as well as student rights voting, gets you into college, so try to get scholarship.
So, hey, I'd like to thank the parents of trans youth that showed up to this meeting and attended virtually. Your support really means so much in the struggle. Just want to shout out real quick, if there are any barriers to you guys showing up, please reach out to me or get in touch with the Transformative Schools group chat. I know we have one person tonight that's, doing childcare at home. Shout out P, I think they're watching. Or maybe you need help with transportation, anything like that. We really want parents and trans youth to attend these meetings. So again, please get in touch if there's anything we can do to help to get you to come out. Thank you.
we waiting,
Yeah.
please? And then after all, we have John overall. And then we have.
So tonight, we heard from Mon, who described.
We need to show them the letter of the speaking, please.
That's what you're encouraging. You're encouraging people to tell kids to come here.
Okay, can you please hear from the speaker that's on we're not gonna finish.
So tonight we heard from Maud, who described that there are supposedly some significant number of families on her side who are pro 248 who are afraid to come. As if the rest of us are not afraid to come. As if we are here with no fear. To be very clear, many of you have heard my voice shake, many of our voices shake. I have witnessed many people that I love, especially trans folks, receive all sorts of threats to themselves, to their loved ones, to their livelihoods, to their children's livelihoods. We are not here because we have no fear. We are here because we have fear, and it's worth risking.
Previous speaker, previous speaker. Well, just move off our thing on the list, but it's just personally, just move off our. Okay, we got it. Jacqueline's overall. Okay, then we have, it looks like we did see it. And then we have Danny.
Hello, I'm Odysseus. I am a trans student at Stuyvesant High School here in District 2. I'm the president of our school GSA. And I don't think you, like, not our student representatives, obviously, but you guys need to listen to what actual students think of 248. The vast majority of my classmates vehemently oppose these anti-trans policies. I'm really lucky that I can be out and I can be safe because of the city's gender inclusive policies. And I'm lucky that the worst thing that I have to suffer is that I've been shamed out of wanting to play sports. I'm not even that good at sports. But these policies, these anti-trans policies have real impact. Suicide attempts of trans youth in states that have passed anti-trans policies have risen by up to 72% since those policies were passed. Thank you.
And then easy.
Hi, I'm Ann Bernard, native New Yorker, District 2 parent, lifelong tomboy, Yankee fan, saw Rigetti's no-hitter in person. Oh, and I'm also a longtime war reporter. So I certainly believe that women can be whatever they want to be, men can be whatever they want to be. We're not trying to limit that. This is an expansion of options. That beautiful, brilliant, powerful speaker you just heard from, Odysseus, that's my child. My firstborn, my daughter, my beloved, my delights. I'll tell you something about this wonderful growing person. She grew up in another country through 4th grade where her school day was a bit old-fashioned. Issues of sex, sexuality, and gender were ignored at best and at worst. Kids like mine were bullied for having their hair be too long or too short for what they were supposed to be like. 6 years ago was one of the most wonderful days of my life. Returned to New York City, took Odysseus and her sister to school to register. It was going to be 5th grade for Odysseus. The first thing we saw, rainbow posters, refugees welcome, no bullying. We all melted and I could see my children relax. I'm sorry, there were people who spoke twice. And
You're allowed to sign up twice.
all right, great.
But
So
you're taking away time from others.
the point is though, that we've been asked to listen to kids. And I think that our kids have spoken and probably more will want to speak.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go. That was 1 minute and 40 seconds.
We have Jamie Chad.
All right, I'm gonna do.
Gonna do my best not to yell. My name is Izzy Sterla, MD. I use they, pronouns. I'm a family resident physician in New York City. You could say biology is kind of my thing. I am speaking my own views today. I'm also a proud non-binary lesbian. I'm a foreign immigrant as well. I also played girls soccer growing up due to my gender assigned at birth. I've worked with trans people across the lifespan, specifically also homeless trans youth. I've been part of their gender affirming care, including those under 18. I have also filled out many school physicals for cisgender children playing sports specifically. And so for adolescents, including those in middle school, who are experiencing these mental health crises and difficulties, for both of them, yep, I can do that. Very quickly, for mental health crises for adolescents, it has been unanimously that it's been bigoted adults that are making their lives difficult and are ruining their mental health. And it is not trans kids wanting to play sports. And I know that was a doctor. I am in strong favor of
Thank you very much.
rescinding this horrible thing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm actually going to be speaking on resolution 265. As I mentioned before, I'm a youth worker. My current role does not have anything to do with LGBT rights. It does have to do with getting youth involved in their world and in whatever is going on, whether that be politics or it be job readiness, what have you. The question was posed earlier, would we still be so ready to give them a voice if they disagree? It might put me at odds with some of the allies in this room, but if every 18-year-old where I work voted against what I believe, I would have done my job because I do not compromise my values for the sake of my personal gain. This country was founded in the idea that those affected by the law should have representation in it. Are you, the board, so afraid that the youth will disagree with you that you will not grant them self-determination?
Go ahead. Hi, Kate. Sorry about my atrocious handwriting. I'm here to speak to rescind the resolution, and I've been a lifelong jock. This is a really familiar story to me. It used to be that everyone was afraid that people like me who are queer were predating in sports teams and in locker rooms, and now it's a different flavor of queers who may be predating in locker rooms. And it was scary for me then. It's probably scary for kids now. I urge you to take this off the table. Thanks.
I want to talk about what happened earlier tonight over in that corner. There was a conflict. I don't know how it started, but it ended with a claim that a trans person in the next seat was such a threat that the police needed to remove them. That is the end game here. How long before some little girl says she's scared to sit next to my daughter and the teacher says, well, why don't we put her in the last row by herself? The erosion of fundamental rights, the erasure of vulnerable people from public life, the criminalization of their existence, it starts in rooms like this, with genteel head shaking and condescending lessons in civility and bullying, like Resolution 248. If what you want is to see my daughter bullied and persecuted and criminalized, I invite you to stop hiding behind civility and say the quiet part out loud. If it is not what you want, put a stop to it right
Hello, my name is Henry Grace. I'm currently a junior at Stuyvesant High School. I am genderqueer and use all sorts of pronouns. You don't have to worry about it too much. I am grateful to have a very supportive community at Stuyvesant. I unfortunately did not at middle school. And while I had some close friends, there weren't really posters or anything about it that made us feel welcome. There was homophobic bullying and transphobic bullying, etc. And I think that supporting trans people in sports, in bathrooms, in their lives throughout schools is very important. And also speak on the SAT, it's complete bullcrap. There are students who did not make the cutoff and they got into the discovery program that are way more qualified than most of the rest of us. Thank you.
Hi, I am Becca Spano, and I think Sero is actually an anti-androgen that trans people take, so that's funny. I wanted to point out, I was 10 years old when I knew what I am. I was 10 years old, and I'm one of those 40% of trans people that have tried to kill themselves. My attempt was when I was 10 years old. And that was because not just of bullying, but because of a lack of institutional support and institutional antagonism that was subtle and nefarious and just as strong. And I'm begging anyone who's on the fence about 248 or voting for people who will rescind 248, please rescind this. I don't want another 10-year-old to try to kill themselves like I did.
I want to say thank you to everyone who came out tonight, and to pose a question to everyone who's here. How many of us are eligible to run for CEC2 in the election system? Okay. How many of us know somebody who might be eligible to run for the elections this spring? I would say that Maud won her seat with 592 votes. We need to find some folks who are willing, who are brave, who want to come to these meetings and want to run. And so I want to challenge us, call to action. Find somebody who's eligible to run, who's just a genuinely nice person, and show up. And we can show this council what actually turns, think, and believe in this district. Thank you.
I guess I'll use the 30 seconds to just be like, Lynn, what is up? Hey, like WTF? Please, come on. Like, I get, and I don't think I'm ever gonna change your mind, Maude, right? Like sometimes you're really bigoted and you're dug in, and it's unfortunate that you got elected to this position, but we are gonna get you unelected. But y'all in the middle who keep week after month standing by people who are clearly bigoted, it says something about your character. And you cannot hide behind this idea that this is some democratic forum and you just want us to all be civil. It's not okay. It's not okay to be a bystander.
I just want to say, Alexandra and Mila, like, holy shit, thank you. I'm obsessed with you already, barely know you. Please continue to advocate for yourself. Please continue to listen to the children in your school. You matter so fucking much. Look at all these people out here. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. We love you. Take a deep breath tonight, please. Yeah.
Okay, do we have Laura, Marilla? How about we see how it go? Taylor Shield. Molly Doherty. Molly. Charlie, Gerard, and Christian.
So piggybacking on something someone said, I don't remember your name, I want to specifically address Craig Slutskin and Lund Silverman. Your abstentions are cowardly. Either, you know, tell us all how transphobic you are, or do the right thing and vote in support of this resolution that will rescind 248. Yeah.
Christian Clifford.
Hi, again, my name is Kristen Clifford. I wanted to say that care is harder than love. Care takes action. And we are asking you to care for our children. Conflict is not abuse. And we're looking at humanity and morality. I hope that you really understand that there is no such thing as surgery on a child. There is no such thing as general surgery on a child. It is not a victim. Please reaffirm your commitment to care for our children. Please don't be complicit in harm. Please.
there anyone that actually signed up was name is not? Can I have your name?
Williamson. William. Come on up.
Well, come on, well, you got 30 seconds. You got 100.
Yeah, I've been doing a couple of weeks, and I've talked to lots of other, show up and say something. I know you find our civic participation really annoying. You wish you would just like stay home. I also wish I was home with my spouse, living my like beautiful, sad adult life. And I just live in the district, and it's a normal person, if you want to stay home, rescind the resolution. And to everybody's here, thank you so much. It feels like we're moving away. We see our community show up with chances, and I'll tell the chances, you're so brave, you're so badass. You inspire me. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll take a vote on the resolutions. We'll start off with resolution 263, resolution urging the calendar educational policy to ensure continuity and administration of specialized high school admissions tests by improving the Pearson and sensitive content. Do I hear a motion to approve? Okay, that's it. I think motion to approve resolution. Take it to vote. You submit it to me, I approve, and I approve it.
There's a copy in the.
Okay, there's a copy in your folders, or if you want an electronic version, ask Victor, then you send it to me, I approve it, and then I send it in. So I have to approve it. Okay. School liaison updates and annual capital requests. I want to remind everybody to visit your schools. I know some people have been starting to do that. I appreciate that. I am waiting to hear back from FACE when the annual capital requests are due. They sent me the forms, but then they put the wrong due date because they put a date that was 10 months ago. So Victor is finding out what exact date. We'll either have to do our rankings in our December or a January meeting. Hopefully we can do that, but I'll get you that information as soon as I can. Even if you're not able to visit your school, I encourage you to at least speak to the principal to see what capital requests they would like you to make on behalf. Thank you. Is there any new business?
Yeah, I have some.
Go ahead.
So one thing I'd like to ask for is that I think we should do childcare again at our meetings. Was done before the pandemic. And some of the council members who were on this council before the pandemic can probably speak to that, but I think that this would be nice for us to offer.
I don't think anybody even availed themselves of that.
Do you want to speak?
Yeah, just in terms of history, I don't even recall anyone ever actually availing themselves of that. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, I'm just saying I don't remember.
So I've been coming to meetings almost decade, and for many years.
Okay. So that's fine, Gavin. Before we can do that, we actually have to allocate money to do that, and we have to change the budget. I have no idea how much this, off the top of my head. So are we okay for the next meeting? We'll do the changing of the treasury, the budget, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, let's figure out how it's going to be implemented.
Okay, I don't know what they said. Go ahead, Sonia.
I think we talked about this in our earlier meetings, and we turned over, I think, how we have staff.
Right, we'll investigate, I'll work with Victor, and we'll report at the next meeting, is that okay with everybody? Okay, I just don't know, I don't know, so. Any other new business? You said you had a few things, Gavin, is that?
So I think that we should consider something students would be interested in having an agenda and to our meetings allowing students to do a presentation, some of the president's report, but a student's report.
I have.
That's the bylaw.
I have no objection to that, except procedurally,
That's a bylaw.
It's a bylaw thing. Let's talk offline, because we can see how procedurally we can accomplish that. I'm not saying no, I just want to see procedurally, I want to think how we can accomplish that. I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm not, I mean, that's fine. They do that at PEP, I think, if they want. Well, I don't want to put them on the spot, I think we offer it and then, right. Well, no, but we shouldn't force it, we'll talk about it, yes. Can we do it Friday?
Next Tuesday?
Friday or next week, that's fine. Tomorrow I have lots going on. Okay. Anything else? Free? Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. So then, I'll make a motion. Len makes a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will see you all next month. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Guys, it's nothing personal, it's just.
No,
you know that, you know it. And I like to hear this, I really do.
It's tired.
Thank you. I don't get my pen back. I need that for tomorrow.
I was just thinking
If you lost it, it's okay.